Waterfalls are meant to be places of serene beauty, where the roar of water drowns out the chaos of the world. But deep in the forests of America, some waterfalls are haunted by tragedies, spirits, and unexplained phenomena. Visitors report shadowy figures among the mist, phantom cries echoing through the canyon, and unseen presences brushing past as the water crashes below. Tonight, we explore 25 of the most haunted waterfalls hidden in American forests, where the beauty of nature hides the whispers of the supernatural. Devil's Kettle Waterfowl, located in Judge C.R. Magny State Park in Minnesota, is a natural wonder shrouded in mystery. Part of the Brule River, the waterfall splits into two channels, one flowing downstream in a normal cascade, and the other plunging into a deep, swirling pothole known as the Kettle. What makes this site so infamous is the unusual behavior of the waters that disappear into the kettle. Despite repeated scientific attempts, no one has ever been able to trace where the water goes. Over the years, visitors and locals have reported paranormal experiences alongside the natural oddities, describing phantom figures vanishing into the whirlpool, strange lights hovering over the water, and mysterious voices calling names from the mist, creating a landscape where the line between natural beauty and supernatural phenomenon blurs. Many witnesses recount seeing shadowy, human-shaped figures at the edge of the waterfall, often moving toward the kettle before vanishing completely. Hikers report standing at the lookout points and glimpsing forms that appear almost human, but lack distinct features, disappearing into the swirling waters, as if the whirlpool itself pulls them into another realm. Some describe these figures as semi-transparent, moving fluidly with the mist rising from the waterfall, sometimes appearing to reach out before being swallowed by the depths. Visitors often describe a sudden chill in the air, a damp cold that seems unnatural, as if the kettle exerts a presence beyond the ordinary flow of the river. The mysterious behavior of the water itself adds to the eerie atmosphere. Despite countless attempts to measure, mark, or track the water, nothing seems to re-emerge from the other side. Locals and visitors alike have reported seeing lights hovering over the kettle, particularly at dusk or during the foggy early mornings common in the region. These lights are described as small, glowing orbs that float just above the churning waters, moving in patterns that seem deliberate rather than random. Some observers report the lights shifting toward the trees or disappearing entirely into the mist, leaving an uncanny silence in their wake. The phenomenon has sparked speculation for generations, from tales of lost spirits to theories of hidden underground channels. But no definitive explanation exists, leaving the waterfall perpetually enigmatic. Strange sounds accompany many of the sightings. Witnesses have reported hearing faint voices rising from the kettle or from the mist surrounding the falls, often calling names as if searching for someone. Hikers recount pauses in their conversations when a whispered repetition of their own names drifts over the roar of the water. Others describe unintelligible murmurs or distant laughter that vanishes as quickly as it begins. Some visitors report a sense of urgency in the calls, a tone that feels almost pleading, as though the spirits of those lost or connected to the kettle are trying to communicate. Even experienced hikers and campers, accustomed to natural sounds like rushing water and wind through the trees, agree that these voices are unexplainable and disquieting. The surrounding area contributes to the haunting experience. Towering cliffs, dense forests, and the mist rising from the waterfall create an environment where visibility is limited, and shadows seem to shift independently of the terrain. Some visitors report glimpsing figures among the trees, standing motionless for moments before disappearing, their presence only suggested by the movement of fog or a subtle shift in light. These intermittent appearances give the impression that the kettle itself is a focal point for residual energy, a place where natural forces and the unseen intersect. The isolation of the location heightens the sense of unease, as the constant rush of water masks other sounds while the swirling mist obscures clear observation. Several accounts describe inexplicable physical sensations. Witnesses often report sudden chills, even on warm days, the feeling of being watched from multiple directions, and an almost vertiginous pull toward the edge of the kettle when standing nearby. Some hikers have described an irresistible urge to lean closer to the water, accompanied by a sensation of weightlessness or floating, as if the swirling pool has a gravitational influence beyond normal physics. While no one has been harmed, the combination of visual, auditory, and physical phenomena has cemented Devil's Kettle Waterfall as a place of both awe and apprehension. Photography and video sometimes capture anomalies that elude the naked eye. Visitors have photographed the waterfall from observation points, only to later notice faint, semi-transparent shapes hovering near the kettle or moving among the mist. Some images reveal glowing orbs above the water or along the forested edges, matching first-hand reports of hovering lights. Video footage occasionally shows subtle, unexplained movement within the churning water, as if something beneath the surface is active, despite the water's natural flow. Paranormal enthusiasts have visited the site with sensors and audio recorders, occasionally detecting faint electromagnetic disturbances or capturing sounds consistent with human voices. Although these remain controversial and difficult to verify scientifically, despite the mysteries and eerie reports, Devil's Kettle Waterfall remains a popular destination. Visitors come to witness the unique geological phenomenon, hike the surrounding trails, and photograph the dramatic landscape. Yet many leave with stories of figures disappearing into the whirlpool, lights that defy explanation, and voices calling from the mist. For some, these experiences are unsettling, reinforcing the idea that the kettle is more than a natural formation. It is a place where the boundary between the physical world and something otherworldly becomes thin, where the unknown can be glimpsed but never fully understood. At Devil's Kettle Waterfall, the river's water disappears into the abyss, phantom figures vanish into the whirlpool, and mysterious lights hover silently above the mist. Voices echo across the gorge, calling names, hinting at secrets hidden beneath the roiling surface. Visitors who stand at the edge often feel a profound sense of history and the unknown intertwined, a reminder that some places in nature retain mysteries beyond human comprehension. The waterfall remains a natural marvel, but it is also a portal of curiosity and unease, where the spirits of the unseen seem to linger, inviting those who visit to witness the convergence of the natural and the supernatural. Havasu Falls, located deep within the Grand Canyon in Arizona, is widely celebrated for its striking turquoise waters and breathtaking cliffs, drawing travelers and adventurers from around the world. The falls cascade down dramatic red rock formations, forming pools of vivid blue and green that appear almost otherworldly against the arid desert landscape. Yet beneath its natural beauty, Havasu Falls is steeped in stories of the unexplained. Locals speak of shadowy figures moving among the cliffs, sudden, unexplained cold drafts, and voices that echo mysteriously through the canyon at night. Visitors have come to expect the awe-inspiring scenery, but many leave with tales of experiences that go far beyond the ordinary, suggesting the falls harbor secrets that cannot be captured in photographs or maps. The cliffs surrounding Havasu Falls are often the first sites of reported activity. Hikers and campers have described seeing dark, human-shaped figures moving along the rock ledges, vanishing as suddenly as they appear. These shadowy presences are sometimes glimpsed at the edges of one's vision, just disappearing when observed directly. Some witnesses report the sensation of being watched while exploring the canyon trails, as if unseen eyes follow their movements across the rugged terrain. The figures are rarely fully visible, appearing and disappearing in the interplay of sunlight and shadow. Yet their fleeting presence leaves an undeniable impression, creating a sense that the cliffs themselves are alive with the memory of those who came before. Unexplained cold drafts are another common experience. Visitors often report walking along the canyon trails on warm, sunny days, and suddenly feeling a sharp chill, as though the air around them has shifted unnaturally. These cold spots are frequently accompanied by a sense of unease or heightened awareness, a feeling that something unseen is nearby. Some hikers have noticed a temperature drop, specifically near cliff edges, ledges, or secluded areas around the pools, where the fall's mist and echoes may intensify the sensation. Others have described these cold drafts coinciding with the appearance of shadowy figures or faint whispers, as though the presence of the unseen and the sudden chill are linked, forming a combined, chilling experience. Voices echoing from the canyon are perhaps the most unnerving phenomenon. Campers and visitors have reported hearing soft calls, sometimes their own names, drifting through the rocky corridors of the canyon at night. Other times, indistinct conversations or laughter seem to come from nowhere, bouncing along the canyon walls and disappearing into the shadows. These auditory experiences are particularly disorienting because they often occur when no other human presence is nearby. Some describe the voices as urgent or pleading, while others hear calm or melodic tones, like fragments of past gatherings or conversations replaying themselves across time. Even experienced hikers, accustomed to the natural sounds of wind, water, and wildlife, agree that these voices are unexplainable and create a lingering sense of mystery. The falls themselves seem to act as a focal point for unusual activity. Visitors report feeling a subtle pull toward the edge of the pools or a compelling curiosity to step closer to the cascading water, accompanied by a sense of weightlessness or dizziness. The mist rising from the falls often carries eerie optical effects. Fleeting silhouettes appear briefly in the fog, shimmering or dancing along the rock faces, only to vanish moments later. The canyon at night is where Havasu Falls becomes most enigmatic. As darkness settles and the stars reflect on the turquoise waters, the echoes of the canyon seem amplified. Visitors have reported the feeling of invisible footsteps crunching along the sand, or the subtle brushing of air as if someone passes closely by. Whispers and murmurs often accompany these moments, and the sensation of being watched can become more pronounced. Campers who settle near the water or along the cliff edges frequently describe restless nights, interrupted by the sudden awareness of unseen watchers or the inexplicable sensation that something is moving just beyond their tent flaps. Despite the haunting experiences, Havasu Falls remains a destination of unparalleled beauty. Tourists come to immerse themselves in the vibrant colors, the thundering waterfalls, and the serenity of the remote canyon. Yet for many, the visit includes experiences that defy explanation. Shadowy figures among the cliffs, cold drafts that chill the spine, and voices echoing eerily through the canyon at night. These encounters leave a lasting impression, blending the natural majesty of the falls with an undeniable sense of the supernatural. Havasu Falls is a place where the extraordinary and the eerie converge. Shadowy figures continue to glide along the cliffs. Sudden cold drafts brush against the living, and whispers echo mysteriously through the canyon, reminding visitors that the falls are more than just a scenic destination. They are a living landscape infused with the energy of time and memory, a location where the beauty of nature meets the unseen. For those who linger long enough, Havasu Falls offers more than just breathtaking vistas. It offers an encounter with the unknown, a reminder that even in the most stunning natural settings, the mysteries of the world persist, waiting for those who dare to notice them. Monoma Falls, nestled in the Columbia River Gorge of Oregon, is one of the most iconic and visited waterfalls in the Pacific Northwest. Towering over 600 feet, it cascades down rugged cliffs, creating a scene of breathtaking natural beauty that draws hikers, photographers, and tourists from around the world. Yet beneath its stunning appearance, Monoma Falls has long been the subject of strange and unexplained reports. Hikers and visitors describe seeing apparitions along the trail's glowing orbs, rising in the mist, and phantom footsteps echoing across the bridge that spans the falls, creating an atmosphere where the line between natural wonder and supernatural mystery seems to blur. The trail leading up to Monoma Falls is often the first place where visitors encounter unusual phenomena. Hikers recount glimpses of shadowy human forms moving among the trees and along the cliff edges. These figures are rarely fully visible, often appearing only in fleeting moments at the edge of vision, vanishing when approached. Some witnesses report feeling the sensation of being watched as they walk, a subtle awareness that someone or something is following their progress along the winding trail. The apparitions are described in various ways. Some resemble figures dressed in early 20th century clothing, perhaps a remnant of past travelers, while others are less defined. Dark silhouettes that seem to blend with the shadows of the forest. These fleeting encounters leave hikers with an uneasy sense that the energy of the past still lingers in the gorge. Glowing orbs are another phenomenon frequently reported by visitors. As the mist from the falls rises and fills the air, tiny balls of light are sometimes seen drifting just above the spray or hovering near the cliff faces. Witnesses describe the orbs as ranging in size from small pinpoints to larger, luminous spheres, moving with a deliberate, almost playful motion. Some appear to follow hikers briefly before vanishing into the mist, while others seem stationary, suspended above the churning waters below. Photographs taken by visitors occasionally capture these orbs, though they often do not appear in the images as clearly as they are seen by the naked eye, adding to the sense of mystery and reinforcing the feeling that these lights are something more than mere reflections or camera artifacts. The bridge that spans the upper section of Monoma Falls is a particularly active site for paranormal reports. Visitors crossing the bridge have recounted hearing footsteps that do not match their own, often echoing in time with the roar of the waterfall, but seemingly originating from an invisible presence. Some hikers describe hearing the footsteps approach from behind, pause alongside them, and then vanish into the mist. Others report sudden, inexplicable chills on the bridge, the sensation of someone standing nearby, even when the walkway is otherwise empty. In a few instances, visitors have seen shadowy figures moving across the bridge itself, appearing to glance toward them before disappearing through the spray. These experiences combine visual, auditory, and tactile elements, leaving a strong impression that the falls are home to lingering, unseen entities. Even at the base of the falls, where the water crashes into the pool below, witnesses report unusual occurrences. Hikers often feel a subtle pull toward certain vantage points, accompanied by an almost magnetic sensation that draws attention to specific areas along the cliffs or within the mist. Some have seen figures standing motionless among the trees or near the water's edge, only to vanish when approached. Others describe hearing faint whispers or low murmurs carried on the wind, as if voices from the past are still conversing in the gorge. These experiences are particularly striking because they occur amid the natural sounds of rushing water and wildlife, suggesting that the mysterious phenomena exists independently of environmental noise. Photographs and recordings occasionally provide visual or auditory confirmation of these experiences. Visitors have captured faint silhouettes along the trails or over the bridge, shapes that were not visible when the photo was taken. Some images reveal glowing orbs drifting above the falls or within the mist, matching eyewitness accounts. Audio recordings have picked up footsteps, murmurs, or whispers that are not audible to the human ear at the time, suggesting that the fall's energy manifests in subtle ways that are often overlooked by casual observation. Paranormal investigators visiting the site have documented fluctuating electromagnetic readings, sudden drops in temperature, and other anomalies that reinforce the anecdotal experiences of hikers. Despite its reputation for the unexplained, Monoma Falls remains a highly popular destination. Visitors come for the awe-inspiring scenery, the challenge of the hiking trails, and the opportunity to photograph one of Oregon's most iconic landmarks. Yet for many, the experience includes more than just visual splendor. Shadowy figures along the trails, glowing orbs among the mist, and phantom footsteps on the bridge leave a lasting impression, blending natural beauty with a sense of mystery that lingers long after leaving the gorge. Some visitors find these encounters unsettling, while others consider them a fascinating glimpse into the unseen history of the area. At Monoma Falls, the past seems to coexist with the present. Apparitions glide silently along the cliffs, glowing orbs hover amid the spray, and unseen footsteps echo across the bridge, creating a landscape where natural wonder and the supernatural intertwine. Those who hike the trails, linger on the bridge, or pause to watch the waters cascade often feel the presence of something beyond the ordinary, a subtle reminder that the falls are more than just a stunning geological formation. They are a living environment where the echoes of the past continue to resonate, where the mist and spray carry whispers of the unseen, and where visitors may catch a fleeting glimpse of the mysterious forces that inhabit the gorge. Multnomah Falls is not only a testament to nature's beauty, but also a place where the extraordinary and unexplained remain ever present, inviting all who visit to witness its silent, haunting majesty. Cumberland Falls, located in southeastern Kentucky, is a majestic natural wonder, often called the Niagara of the South, for its impressive breadth and thunderous cascade. The 68-foot waterfall spans the Cumberland River, creating a mist that rises like smoke into the surrounding forested cliffs, drawing visitors from across the region to witness its beauty. Yet beyond the awe-inspiring scenery, Cumberland Falls has earned a reputation for the unexplained and the supernatural. Local legends speak of a woman who drowned in the waters long ago, her spirit said to linger along the cliffs and in the mist. Visitors frequently report hearing screams carried across the falls and seeing lights flickering inexplicably along the water at night, lending the area an eerie, otherworldly presence that draws both thrill-seekers and those intrigued by the paranormal. The waterfalls, mist-shrouded cliffs, provide a natural stage for sightings and eerie phenomena. Hikers and evening visitors have described glimpsing shadowy figures along the cliff edges, often appearing near the water's edge, where the current is strongest. These forms are usually vague and fleeting, vanishing when approached, leaving only the sensation that someone or something is observing. Locals tell stories of the drowned woman's apparition, appearing in a flowing gown, silently gliding near the falls, or briefly standing in the mist before disappearing. Witnesses describe a chilling presence in these moments, a sense of sorrow and longing that permeates the air around the rushing waters. The figure is said to reappear most frequently on foggy mornings or during nights with low clouds, when the mist thickens and the falls themselves seem to become shrouded in another dimension. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the sound of screams echoing through the mist. Visitors have recounted moments when the roar of the falls is interrupted by high-pitched cries or anguished wails, often seeming to come from the very heart of the waterfall. These sounds are particularly unsettling because they are distinct from the normal rumble of cascading water and carry a haunting quality that resonates across the gorge. Some hikers have described the screams as if calling their names or crying out in warning, vanishing abruptly as the mist shifts or the wind changes direction. Even seasoned naturalists and experienced river guides admit that the eerie cries are difficult to explain, adding to the sense that Cumberland Falls is more than a simple geographic wonder. It is a place imbued with lingering energy. Lights flickering along the falls are another mystery that has captured the attention of both visitors and paranormal enthusiasts. After dusk, some witnesses report seeing small, ethereal glows rising from the mist or dancing along the edges of the cliffs. These lights range in size, from faint pinpoints to brighter, more substantial shapes, sometimes moving as if carried by invisible currents. They appear to drift along the surface of the falls or hover momentarily in the mist before fading into darkness. Some observers interpret these lights as the restless spirit of the drowned woman, a spectral presence manifesting in visual form, while others speculate about natural phenomena enhanced by reflection and fog. Regardless of the explanation, these flickering lights contribute to the fall's haunting reputation. Visitors who explore the surrounding trails and viewing platforms often experience sudden changes in temperature, with cold drafts moving unexpectedly through the forested gorge. Some hikers report feeling a physical presence brushing against them or a sudden sense of being followed, even when they are alone on the trails. Others describe an almost magnetic pull towards certain vantage points, where the mist is densest or where the cliffs form natural alcoves, as if the falls themselves are drawing attention to specific locations. Many feel a heightened awareness in these moments, a sensation that something unseen is observing their every move. The sounds and sights are not limited to the edges of the falls. Many hikers have recounted hearing soft footsteps or whispers as they cross wooden bridges and paths near the river. Even in areas far from the main cascade, the natural echo of the gorge can make these sounds startlingly clear, leaving visitors unsure whether what they hear is human, animal, or something else entirely. At night, the effect is amplified, with the falls' roar blending with the whispers, cries, and occasional flickers of light to create an atmosphere that is both mesmerizing and deeply unsettling. Photography and video occasionally capture evidence of the fall's mysterious activity. Some long exposure shots reveal streaks of light or shadowy forms moving against a backdrop of rushing water. Audio recordings have occasionally picked up unexplained screams or whispering, adding to the reports of supernatural activity. Paranormal investigators have documented fluctuating electromagnetic readings, sudden temperature drops, and visual anomalies in areas where visitors report the strongest experiences, reinforcing the idea that Cumberland Falls is a nexus of natural and unexplained energy. Despite these eerie accounts, Cumberland Falls remains a celebrated destination. Tourists come for its breathtaking vistas, the hiking trails, and the tranquil pools downstream. Yet many leave with stories of ghostly figures, flickering lights, and haunting cries carried by the mist. The allure of the falls lies not only in their natural beauty, but in the sense that the past continues to linger in the gorge, where the spirit of the drowned woman and other unseen presences remain intertwined with the roaring water. Cumberland Falls is a place where the natural and supernatural coexist. Shadowy figures glide through mist and cliffside, ethereal lights flicker in the night, and distant screams echo across the gorge, creating a hauntingly beautiful landscape. Those who stand at the edge of the falls or walk along the trails often feel the presence of something beyond comprehension, a reminder that nature can conceal both extraordinary beauty and lingering mysteries. The falls remain a testament to the enduring power of the natural world and the unknown, where the roar of water and the whispers of the past intertwine, leaving visitors in awe and wonder long after they have departed. Amicalola Falls, located in the heart of Georgia's North Georgia mountains, is celebrated as one of the Southeast's most magnificent waterfalls. Cascading nearly 729 feet, it is the tallest waterfall in the state, drawing hikers, nature enthusiasts, and tourists from across the region to witness its breathtaking beauty. Yet beneath the serene beauty and the roar of falling water, the falls carry an air of mystery. Visitors frequently recount experiences that defy explanation: shadowy figures moving among the trees, sudden cold drafts along the hiking paths, and faint whispers echoing through the canyon. These accounts have earned Amicalola Falls a reputation not only as a natural wonder, but as a site where the unseen and the unexplained persistently linger. The hiking trails surrounding the falls are often the first places where unusual phenomena are reported. Hikers frequently describe glimpsing dark, humanoid figures among the dense foliage, often at the edge of vision. These shadowy presences seem to move deliberately, pausing and vanishing, as if aware of being observed. Many witnesses report a chilling sense of being watched, an eerie awareness that someone or something is following their progress along the winding, steep paths. The figures are typically fleeting, disappearing into the trees or mist, leaving only the lingering sensation that they are not entirely of this world. Some speculate these are spirits of those who may have perished near the falls, while others suggest they are remnants of the mountain itself, memories etched into the landscape. Sudden cold drafts are a hallmark of the mysterious energy that permeates the area. Hikers often report experiencing abrupt drops in temperature, even on warm days, as they approach certain vantage points or stand near the base of the falls. The chills are often accompanied by goosebumps or a sense of unease, as though the forest itself is aware of their presence. In some cases, the drafts appear to follow visitors along the trails, brushing past them despite the still air. These sensations are sometimes paired with visual anomalies, such as faint movements among the trees or shadows darting across the path, reinforcing the impression that the falls are alive with unseen forces. The canyon surrounding Amicalola Falls enhances the sense of mystery. The roar of the water echoes off the cliffs, creating natural acoustics that can carry sound long distances. Many hikers report hearing faint whispers drifting through the gorge, often seeming to come from no discernible source. Some have described the whispers as unintelligible murmurs, while others hear words or names called softly, sometimes repeating what they themselves have just spoken. The echoes can be disorienting, making it difficult to discern direction or origin, and contributing to the uncanny atmosphere of the canyon. At night, the effect is intensified, with the combination of mist, shadows, and echoing sounds creating a sense that the forest itself is alive and aware. Visitors also describe strange visual phenomena near the falls. The spray rising from the cascading water often catches sunlight or moonlight in unexpected ways, creating fleeting shapes or glimmers that appear almost like figures suspended in the mist. Some hikers have reported seeing human-shaped silhouettes in the fog, standing near the cliffs or among the trees, only to vanish moments later. Others notice small, glowing orbs drifting above the water or hovering along the edges of the trails, moving with a deliberate motion that is difficult to attribute to natural causes. The footbridges and lookout platforms along the trails are frequent sites of paranormal encounters. Visitors have reported hearing phantom footsteps on the wooden planks when no one else is present, often echoing in time with the roar of the falls. Some describe sudden brushes of air, as if an unseen presence has passed by, or a fleeting shadow crossing the platform from one side to the other. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences creates a powerful impression that the energy of the falls extends beyond the physical beauty, imbuing every step along the trail with an awareness of the unseen. Even in the campgrounds and resting areas near Amicalola Falls, strange occurrences have been noted. Campers sometimes report hearing soft murmurs or whispers when no other humans are nearby, or glimpsing dark shapes moving among the trees. Unexplained temperature shifts, sudden chills, and fleeting shadows all contribute to the feeling that the area is alive with lingering presences. Some visitors describe moments of intense emotion or unease without apparent cause, as if the falls themselves communicate an energy that is subtle yet profoundly felt. Despite these eerie experiences, Amicalola Falls remains a celebrated destination for its natural splendor. Tourists and hikers are drawn to the towering waterfall, the scenic trails, and the quiet beauty of the surrounding forest. Yet many leave with stories of shadowy figures along the trails, cold drafts brushing their skin, and whispers echoing through the canyon. For some, these experiences are disconcerting. For others, they are a fascinating connection to the past, an encounter with the unseen energy that seems to persist in the gorge. Amicalola Falls is a place where the natural world and the supernatural converge. Shadowy figures move silently among the trees, cold drafts brush along the paths, and faint whispers echo through the canyon, reminding visitors that the beauty of the falls is matched by a deeper, unexplainable mystery. Those who venture along the trails, pause on the bridges, or stand at the edge of the cascading waters often feel the presence of something beyond comprehension, a subtle yet undeniable energy that permeates the forest. The falls remain a testament to the power and mystery of nature, a location where breathtaking beauty and lingering mysteries coexist, leaving a lasting impression on all who experience them. Yosemite Falls, located in the heart of California's Yosemite National Park, is one of the tallest waterfalls in North America, plunging a staggering 2,425 feet from the cliffs above into the valley below. Its breathtaking beauty draws thousands of hikers, climbers, and tourists every year, all eager to witness the cascading water, the granite cliffs, and the verdant forest that surrounds it. Yet alongside its natural grandeur, Yosemite Falls carries a reputation for the unexplained. Hikers and visitors have reported ghostly climbers scaling the cliffs, echoes of screams that seem to come from nowhere, and apparitions that vanish mysteriously near the base of the falls, creating an atmosphere where awe and unease coexist. The cliffs surrounding Yosemite Falls are steep, rugged, and often shrouded in mist from the plunging waters, making them the perfect stage for spectral sightings. Hikers recount glimpsing shadowy figures moving along ledges or climbing paths where no one is present. These figures sometimes resemble climbers in old-fashioned gear, their movements deliberate yet impossibly quiet against the roar of the waterfall. Witnesses often notice that these ghostly climbers appear and vanish within seconds, leaving only the impression that someone or something is scaling the cliffs unseen. Some hikers describe the figures as partially transparent, almost blending with the rock, while others see complete silhouettes that seem to defy the natural laws of physics. Echoes of screams are another phenomenon that unnerves visitors. Hikers along the trails or near the base of the falls have reported hearing sharp, high-pitched cries that reverberate through the granite walls of the canyon. The screams are often described as human in nature, but disembodied, carrying a sense of panic or distress. These sounds are particularly unsettling because they frequently occur when no other hikers are nearby, and the valley amplifies the echoes in unpredictable ways. Some witnesses have reported the sensation that the screams are coming from specific locations along the cliffs or from the falls themselves, creating an impression that past tragedies or lost climbers are replaying through the echoes of the canyon. The base of Yosemite Falls is another hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors often describe apparitions materializing near the pool where the water crashes down, only to vanish moments later. Some see shadowy figures standing at the edge of the water or moving across the rocks, their forms indistinct but eerily human. Others have reported glimpses of climbers who seem to appear mid-air along the falls, only to dissolve into mist as the eyes adjust. Hikers who pause near the base sometimes feel an inexplicable chill or a sense of being watched, even when no other person is nearby. The combination of visual anomalies, tactile sensations, and the natural acoustics of the falls creates an environment where the boundary between reality and the unexplained seems thin. Visitors frequently report other sensory experiences that heighten the sense of the uncanny. Sudden temperature drops are common, particularly near cliff ledges or within the mist created by the falls. Hikers have described cold drafts that move against the wind, brushing their skin or chilling their hands and faces. Some describe faint whispers or murmurs drifting along the trails, indistinct but unnerving, often occurring in tandem with ghostly sightings or screams. Others report the feeling of invisible presences brushing past them on narrow paths, a tactile awareness of something unseen. These combined experiences create a lingering impression that the energy of Yosemite Falls is alive, holding memories of the climbers and travelers who have ventured into the cliffs over the centuries. Photographs and videos occasionally capture evidence of these strange phenomena. Some images show faint, human-shaped figures along cliff faces. Others reveal shadowy silhouettes standing near the pool at the base of the falls. Long-exposure photography sometimes captures orbs or glowing shapes that seem to float within the mist, matching eyewitness descriptions of fleeting apparitions. Audio recordings have occasionally picked up unexplained noises, screams, whispers, or even what sound like climbing gear, clinking despite the absence of any living climbers nearby. Paranormal investigators visiting the area have noted unusual fluctuations in temperature and electromagnetic readings in locations where witnesses report the most activity, lending further credence to the idea that Yosemite Falls is a nexus of natural beauty and unexplained energy. Even experienced climbers and hikers familiar with the treacherous terrain admit that these encounters are unsettling. The cliffs, already imposing and difficult to navigate, become even more daunting when the possibility of ghostly presences is added. Visitors often describe an uneasy thrill, a combination of fear and fascination, as they trace the waterfall's paths or pause to observe the cliffs. Some choose to explore the area at dawn or dusk, when light and shadow create the most dramatic interplay along the granite faces, and when the spectral sightings are said to be most common. Despite these eerie occurrences, Yosemite Falls remains a world-renowned destination. Tourists are drawn to its natural majesty, the challenge of hiking its trails, and the sheer scale of its cascading waters. Yet for many, the experience extends beyond the tangible landscape. Ghostly climbers, echoes of screams, and fleeting apparitions leave a lasting impression, transforming the falls into a place where the past and present coexist, and where nature's beauty is entwined with the inexplicable. Yosemite Falls is a location where grandeur and mystery meet. Shadowy climbers scale the cliffs, echoes of distress reverberate through the canyon, and ghostly figures vanish among the rocks and mist. creating a landscape infused with both awe and the uncanny. Those who hike the trails, pause near the base, or observe the plunging waters often feel the presence of something beyond comprehension. A reminder that even in the most celebrated natural wonders, the unseen continues to linger. Yosemite Falls is not just a testament to the splendor of the wilderness. It is a place where the extraordinary and unexplained converge, leaving every visitor with the sense that the falls hold secrets that may never be fully revealed. Ruby Falls, located deep within Lookout Mountain near Chattanooga, Tennessee, is celebrated as one of the most unique waterfalls in the United States. Unlike waterfalls that tumble through open valleys, Ruby Falls is hidden within a vast cave system. Plunging nearly 145 feet into the darkness below, its waters are illuminated by carefully placed lights, creating a magical, almost ethereal atmosphere that draws visitors into a subterranean world. Yet, alongside the awe and wonder, Ruby Falls has long been associated with unexplained phenomena. Guests and cave guides alike have reported shadowy figures emerging from the rock formations, strange flickering lights that appear with no source, and whispers that seem to echo from deep within the cave, lending the hidden waterfall a mysterious and haunting reputation. The first reports of unusual activity often occur along the cave pathways that wind toward the falls. Visitors navigating the narrow corridors lined with stalactites and stalagmites occasionally glimpse shadowy figures among the rock formations. These figures are rarely clear. They often appear as dark silhouettes, moving along ledges or behind formations before vanishing entirely. Witnesses describe a sensation of being watched, as if the cave itself holds an awareness of their presence. Some say the shadows resemble miners or explorers from decades past, while others insist the forms are entirely otherworldly, defying explanation. The fleeting glimpses leave a lasting impression, a chilling reminder that the cave conceals more than just its stunning waters. Strange lights are another phenomenon that has intrigued both visitors and guides. While the cave is illuminated for safety and aesthetic purposes, many report seeing faint glows or flashes that do not align with the installed lighting. These lights often appear among the stalactites or near the edges of the waterfall, moving in ways that suggest intent rather than natural reflection. Some witnesses describe small, orb-like lights drifting slowly through the cavern, hovering in place before disappearing into darkness. Others see brighter, more diffuse glows along the rock walls, sometimes seeming to follow them as they walk the winding paths. Photographs and videos occasionally capture these lights, though often they appear different than observed with the naked eye, adding to the sense of mystery surrounding Ruby Falls. Whispers from deep within the cave are perhaps the most unsettling experiences reported. Guests often recount hearing voices echoing off the walls, soft murmurs, or indistinct phrases that seem to come from nowhere. Some report that the whispers call out names or repeat words spoken moments earlier, as if the cave is replaying fragments of past conversations. The acoustics of the cavern amplify these sounds, creating a disorienting experience where it is impossible to locate their origin. Guides who have worked in the cave for years sometimes hear the murmurs themselves, often at times when no visitors are present, further fueling speculation about the presence of unseen entities within the rock formations. The area around the waterfall itself is particularly active in reports of paranormal activity. Visitors approaching Ruby Falls describe a sense of movement in the corner of their vision, shadows that seem to shift and glide among the dripping formations. Some have felt sudden chills near the base of the falls, even in otherwise warm conditions, as if the water and the rock hold an unseen energy. Others describe hearing soft footsteps echoing along the cavern floor, distinct from the natural sounds of water and dripping minerals. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences creates an impression that Ruby Falls is not just a geological marvel, but a place alive with lingering energy invisible to the ordinary eye, but profoundly felt by those who venture close. Many hikers and visitors have described an odd sense of timing or disorientation while inside the cave. The twisting paths, the interplay of shadows and light, and the echoes of unseen sounds can make minutes feel like hours, and footsteps seem to come from directions that are impossible. Some people report feeling a subtle pull toward certain alcoves or areas along the walkway, as if something is urging them closer to the waterfall or deeper into the cavern. Others describe a sudden awareness of unseen presences, a heightened sensitivity to the movements and sounds within the cave that fades once they return to the daylight above. Images sometimes capture faint, human-like silhouettes in the rock formations or blurred shapes near the waterfall. Lights appear in long exposure photos where none were visible in reality. And some video recordings pick up faint whispers or distant echoes, not audible to those present. These anomalies, while subtle, reinforce the stories told by visitors and guides and add weight to the notion that the cave conceals experiences beyond the ordinary. Despite the eerie reports, Ruby Falls remains a celebrated destination for its natural beauty. Tourists come to admire the stunning waterfall, the mineral-rich cave formations, and the sense of entering a hidden world beneath the surface. Yet many leave with tales of shadowy figures emerging from the rocks, inexplicable lights, and whispers carried along the cavern walls. For some, these experiences are unnerving. For others, they are a captivating reminder of the unseen dimensions that exist alongside the natural world. Ruby Falls is a place where wonder and mystery coexist. Shadowy forms glide among stalactites and stalagmites. Ethereal lights flicker with no source, and whispers drift from the depths of the cavern, creating a sense of the extraordinary within the subterranean beauty. Visitors walking the winding paths, pausing to gaze at the cascading water, or listening to the echoes within the cave, often feel the presence of something beyond the ordinary, a subtle but persistent energy that inhabits the space. Ruby Falls is more than a hidden waterfall. It's a realm where the natural and the unexplained intertwine, leaving every visitor with a sense of awe and a lingering impression that the cave holds secrets that may never be fully revealed. Ruby Falls, located deep within Lookout Mountain near Chattanooga, Tennessee, is celebrated as one of the most unique waterfalls in the United States. Unlike waterfalls that tumble through open valleys, Ruby Falls is hidden within a vast cave system, plunging nearly 145 feet into the darkness below. Its waters are illuminated by carefully placed lights, creating a magical, almost ethereal atmosphere that draws visitors into a subterranean world. Yet, alongside the awe and wonder, Ruby Falls has long been associated with unexplained phenomena. Guests and cave guides alike have reported shadowy figures emerging from the rock formations, strange flickering lights that appear with no source, and whispers that seem to echo from deep within the cave, lending the hidden waterfall a mysterious and haunting reputation. The first reports of unusual activity often occur along the cave pathways that wind toward the falls. Visitors navigating the narrow corridors lined with stalactites and stalagmites occasionally glimpse shadowy figures among the rock formations. These figures are rarely clear. They often appear as dark silhouettes, moving along ledges or behind formations before vanishing entirely. Witnesses describe a sensation of being watched, as if the cave itself holds an awareness of their presence. Some say the shadows resemble miners or explorers from decades past, while others insist the forms are entirely otherworldly, defying explanation. The fleeting glimpses leave a lasting impression, a chilling reminder that the cave conceals more than just its stunning waters. Strange lights are another phenomenon that has intrigued both visitors and guides. While the cave is illuminated for safety and aesthetic purposes, many report seeing faint glows or flashes that do not align with the installed lighting. These lights often appear among the stalactites or near the edges of the waterfall, moving in ways that suggest intent rather than natural reflection. Some witnesses describe small, orb-like lights drifting slowly through the cavern, hovering in place before disappearing into darkness. Others see brighter, more diffuse glows along the rock walls, sometimes seeming to follow them as they walk the winding paths. Photographs and videos occasionally capture these lights, though often they appear different than observed with the naked eye, adding to the sense of mystery surrounding Ruby Falls. Whispers from deep within the cave are perhaps the most unsettling experiences reported. Guests often recount hearing voices echoing off the walls, soft murmurs, or indistinct phrases that seem to come from nowhere. Some report that the whispers call out names or repeat words spoken moments earlier, as if the cave is replaying fragments of past conversations. The acoustics of the cavern amplify these sounds, creating a disorienting experience where it is impossible to locate their origin. Guides who have worked in the cave for years sometimes hear the murmurs themselves, often at times when no visitors are present, further fueling speculation about the presence of unseen entities within the rock formations. The area around the waterfall itself is particularly active in reports of paranormal activity. Visitors approaching Ruby Falls describe a sense of movement in the corner of their vision, shadows that seem to shift and glide among the dripping formations. Some have felt sudden chills near the base of the falls, even in otherwise warm conditions, as if the water and the rock hold an unseen energy. Others describe hearing soft footsteps echoing along the cavern floor, distinct from the natural sounds of water and dripping minerals. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences creates an impression that Ruby Falls is not just a geological marvel, but a place alive with lingering energy invisible to the ordinary eye, but profoundly felt by those who venture close. Many hikers and visitors have described an odd sense of timing or disorientation while inside the cave. The twisting paths, the interplay of shadows and light, and the echoes of unseen sounds can make minutes feel like hours, and footsteps seem to come from directions that are impossible. Some people report feeling a subtle pull toward certain alcoves or areas along the walkway, as if something is urging them closer to the waterfall or deeper into the cavern. Others describe a sudden awareness of unseen presences, a heightened sensitivity to the movements and sounds within the cave that fades once they return to the daylight above. Images sometimes capture faint, human-like silhouettes in the rock formations or blurred shapes near the waterfall. Lights appear in long exposure photos where none were visible in reality, and some video recordings pick up faint whispers or distant echoes not audible to those present. These anomalies, while subtle, reinforce the stories told by visitors and guides and add weight to the notion that the cave conceals experiences beyond the ordinary. Despite the eerie reports, Ruby Falls remains a celebrated destination for its natural beauty. Tourists come to admire the stunning waterfall, the mineral-rich cave formations, and the sense of entering a hidden world beneath the surface. Yet many leave with tales of shadowy figures emerging from the rocks, inexplicable lights, and whispers carried along the cavern walls. For some, these experiences are unnerving. For others, they are a captivating reminder of the unseen dimensions that exist alongside the natural world. Ruby Falls is a place where wonder and mystery coexist. Shadowy forms glide among stalactites and stalagmites. Ethereal lights flicker with no source, and whispers drift from the depths of the cavern, creating a sense of the extraordinary within the subterranean beauty. Visitors walking the winding paths, pausing to gaze at the cascading water, or listening to the echoes within the cave, often feel the presence of something beyond the ordinary, a subtle but persistent energy that inhabits the space. Ruby Falls is more than a hidden waterfall. It's a realm where the natural and the unexplained intertwine, leaving every visitor with a sense of awe and a lingering impression that the cave holds secrets that may never be fully revealed. Bridal Veil Fall, one of the most iconic waterfalls in Yosemite National Park, plunges 620 feet from the granite cliffs into the valley below, creating a spectacular display of cascading water and mist that has drawn visitors for generations. Its name, inspired by the delicate veil-like appearance of the waterfall, hints at a gentleness that belies the tragic and mysterious history associated with the site. Locals and hikers have long reported that the falls are haunted by the spirit of a woman who met a tragic end, plunging to her death along the cliffs. Witnesses recount seeing apparitions in the swirling mist, experiencing sudden cold spots along the trails, and hearing faint cries near the base of the waterfall, creating an atmosphere where beauty and sorrow intermingle in a hauntingly palpable way. The trails leading to Bridal Veil Fall are steep and lined with granite boulders, and it is along these paths that visitors first encounter unusual phenomena. Hikers describe glimpsing figures in the corner of their vision, often appearing as a woman in flowing white or light-colored clothing, suspended in the mist or gliding along cliff edges. These apparitions vanish when approached, leaving only the lingering sense of presence and an unsettling chill in the air. Some hikers claim the figure seems to repeat the motion of falling or reaching out, as if replaying the tragic event that occurred centuries ago. The fleeting glimpses leave an indelible impression, and many visitors report feeling both awe and fear as they navigate the rocky trails toward the waterfall. Cold spots are another common feature associated with Bridal Veil Fall. As hikers approach the base of the falls, they often feel sudden drops in temperature, sometimes accompanied by goosebumps or a shiver that seems to pass through the body. These chills can occur even on warm days, suggesting that the waterfall itself or the surrounding cliffs hold an unseen energy. The cold spots are often strongest near the areas where mist from the waterfall rises, creating an almost supernatural atmosphere. Visitors frequently report that the sensation of cold coincides with glimpses of the spirit or the soft sound of a distant voice, reinforcing the impression that the falls are haunted by more than just memory. The base of Bridal Veil Fall is perhaps the most active location for paranormal reports. Witnesses describe faint cries or sobbing that seem to emanate from the mist itself, blending with the roar of the water in a way that is both subtle and deeply unsettling. The sounds are often indistinct, leaving hikers uncertain whether they are hearing human voices, echoes of the falls, or something else entirely. Some visitors claim to hear their names called softly or phrases repeated in whispers, as if the spirit is trying to communicate or replay her final moments. The cries are strongest when the wind carries the mist across the valley, and many hikers pause to listen, captivated by the haunting sound that seems to rise from the waterfall itself. Apparitions within the mist are a frequent occurrence for those who venture close to the cascading water. The fine spray creates a natural veil that can distort light and shape, and some witnesses report seeing the outline of a woman forming in the mist, only to dissipate moments later. Others describe shadowy movements among the rocks or faint human shapes standing near the edge of the pool at the base of the falls. These sightings are usually brief and elusive, but they are enough to leave visitors with a sense that the waterfall is more than a geological formation. It is a place alive with lingering spirits. Even experienced hikers and guides acknowledge the uncanny nature of the area. They often report that the falls have a unique energy that affects perception, creating moments where shadows seem to move independently and sounds echo in ways that defy explanation. The interplay of light, water, and mist enhances these experiences, making it difficult to distinguish between natural phenomena and the paranormal. Some visitors claim to feel a gentle tug towards certain areas along the base or trails, as if the spirit is drawing attention to specific points in the gorge where her presence is most strongly felt. Photographs and recordings sometimes provide subtle evidence of the mysterious activity at Bridal Veil Fall. Images occasionally capture faint silhouettes in the mist or blurred figures near the edges of the waterfall. Long exposure photography can reveal shapes or light patterns that were invisible to the naked eye, and audio recordings sometimes pick up whispers or faint cries that were not apparent during the visit. Paranormal investigators have documented sudden temperature drops, unusual electromagnetic readings, and unexplained movements of small objects in areas where visitors report the strongest experiences, reinforcing the accounts of apparitions, cold spots, and cries. Despite its haunting reputation, Bridal Veil Fall remains a celebrated destination. Tourists are drawn by its breathtaking beauty, the towering granite cliffs, and the serene forest trails that lead to the waterfall. Yet many leave with stories of ghostly figures, sudden chills, and faint cries echoing through the mist. For some, these encounters are unsettling. For others, they are a fascinating connection to the past and the unseen forces that inhabit the valley. Bridal Veil Fall is a place where tragedy and natural splendor coexist. Shadowy figures drift within the mist, cold spots brush across the trails, and faint cries rise from the base of the waterfall, creating an experience that is both haunting and uninspiring. Visitors who walk the paths, pause to admire the cascading water, or linger near the pool at the bottom often sense the presence of something beyond ordinary perception. A reminder that even the most beautiful landscapes can carry echoes of the past. Bridal Veil Fall stands not only as a testament to the majesty of nature, but as a site where sorrow, memory, and the unexplained intertwine, leaving an indelible impression on all who experience its haunting beauty. Shoshone Falls, often called the Niagara of the West, plunges an astonishing 212 feet over the Snake River in southern Idaho, creating a thunderous spectacle that has drawn visitors for generations. Its towering cliffs, roaring waters, and the dense mist rising from the falls make it one of the most striking natural landmarks in the region. Yet alongside its grandeur, Shoshone Falls carries a reputation for the unexplained. Locals and hikers have long reported sightings of ghostly apparitions emerging from the mist, screams echoing along the canyon, and shadowy figures appearing near the cliff edges. These accounts lend the falls an aura of mystery, transforming it from a natural wonder into a place where the line between the tangible and the supernatural seems blurred. The first strange experiences often occur along the trails that wind toward the overlook points and cliff edges. Hikers describe seeing shadowy forms move in the peripheral vision, figures that vanish when looked at directly. Some say these apparitions resemble men and women from the past, clothed in attire from a bygone era, as if time itself has folded along the edges of the canyon. Others insist the figures are less human, moving with an eerie, gliding motion that defies ordinary movement. Visitors often report a sensation of being watched, a subtle but pervasive awareness that unseen presences are observing their every step. These encounters are fleeting, yet leave a lasting impression, a mix of fascination and unease that lingers long after leaving the trails. Mist rising from the falls seems to amplify these phenomena. The fine spray, carried by winds down the canyon, creates shifting veils that obscure and distort shapes. Witnesses report seeing figures materialize within the mist, only to vanish seconds later. Some describe forms appearing to stand at the very edge of the cliffs, frozen in time, before disappearing as they blink. Others see shapes moving along the canyon walls, gliding past rocks and boulders in ways that are impossible for living climbers. The mist itself seems to hold the memory of the canyon, replaying images and forms from the past for those sensitive enough to notice. Echoes of screams are another chilling feature of Shoshone Falls. Hikers and visitors along the trails report hearing sharp, human-like cries that seem to emanate from deep within the canyon. The screams are often sudden, startling, and distinct from the natural roar of the falls. Sometimes they are high-pitched and urgent, other times low and mournful, carrying a sense of desperation. The acoustics of the canyon amplify the sounds, making it nearly impossible to determine their exact source, which heightens the sense of dread for those hearing them. The cliff edges themselves are particularly active in paranormal reports. Visitors standing near the overlooks sometimes glimpse figures perched or walking along ledges that are otherwise impossible to reach. These shapes are often dark silhouettes, sometimes appearing in human form, and are visible just long enough to provoke fear and curiosity. Hikers describe sudden chills or gusts of icy wind when these figures appear, and some report hearing footsteps on rocks or gravel when no one is present. Others feel an inexplicable pull toward certain parts of the canyon, a sense that the cliffs themselves are alive with unseen energy. The mist often seems to carry sudden temperature drops, brushing against skin with a cold that is sharper than the surrounding air. Hikers report feeling a light touch on the shoulder or arm, sometimes accompanied by the sound of whispering voices that cannot be located. These combined sensory experiences, sight, sound, and touch, create a sense that the falls are inhabited by unseen presences, an energy that is both ancient and persistent. Photographs and recordings occasionally provide subtle evidence of Shoshone Falls' mysterious activity. Audio recordings have occasionally picked up screams, murmurs, or footsteps not audible to those present. These anomalies, while often fleeting and subtle, lend credence to the accounts of visitors and contribute to the falls' enduring reputation as a place where the natural and the supernatural intersect. Even seasoned hikers and local guides acknowledge the unique atmosphere of Shoshone Falls. The combination of towering cliffs, cascading water, and dense mist creates an environment where perception is altered and the imagination is heightened. Visitors frequently leave with stories of shadowy figures, unexplained sounds, and a sense of having encountered something beyond the ordinary. Some are unnerved, while others feel a sense of awe, a reminder that the wilderness is capable of holding secrets as deep and enduring as the canyon itself. Shoshone Falls stands as a place where natural beauty and mystery converge. Shadowy figures drift along cliff edges, glowing mist reveals fleeting forms, and distant screams echo through the canyon, creating an environment that is as haunting as it is spectacular. Visitors who explore the trails, pause near the overlooks, or linger at the base of the falls often feel the presence of something beyond ordinary perception. A subtle but undeniable energy that inhabits the rocks, the water, and the mist. Shoshone Falls is more than a waterfall. It is a realm where the extraordinary and the unexplained converge, leaving a lasting impression on all who venture into its thunderous, mist-shrouded beauty. Vickery Creek Falls, nestled in the lush forests of Georgia, offers hikers a tranquil escape into nature. The waterfall cascades gracefully over moss-covered rocks, feeding the clear waters of Vickery Creek below. Surrounded by towering trees and winding trails, the area seems serene, almost untouched by time. Yet, amid this natural beauty, numerous visitors have reported experiences that defy explanation. Phantom figures crossing the stream, belongings moving inexplicably along the trails, and disembodied voices calling names have all contributed to the falls' reputation as a place where the natural and the supernatural coexist. The first unusual encounters often occur along the trails leading to the falls. Hikers have described seeing figures, sometimes faint and shadowy, other times more distinct, moving across the stream or along the forest floor. These apparitions are often glimpsed in the corner of one's vision, vanishing whenever observed directly. Some witnesses claim the figures appear human, clothed in outdated or unfamiliar attire, as if they belong to another era. Others describe them as ethereal shapes that glide silently over the water or among the trees, leaving no ripples or disturbance in their path. Many hikers report a profound sense of being watched, a subtle tension that seems to follow them as they move along the trails. Objects moving on their own is another common phenomenon reported near Vickery Creek Falls. Visitors have recounted backpacks, water bottles, and even personal items shifting position or falling without explanation. In some cases, books left on a rock or log appear to have been flipped open, pages turned as if touched by invisible hands. These incidents are often accompanied by sudden chills or the feeling of an unseen presence nearby, heightening the sense that the area is alive with forces beyond ordinary perception. Hikers and parkgoers frequently remark on the inexplicability of these events, especially when no wind or other natural cause seems possible. Voices calling names add another eerie layer to the fall's mysterious reputation. Several hikers have reported hearing their names spoken softly along the trail or near the edge of the stream. Sometimes the calls are indistinct whispers, other times they are clear and deliberate, echoing across the water. Many describe the unsettling experience of turning to respond, only to find no one present. The voices often seem to come from deep within the woods or the flowing creek itself, creating a disorienting effect where sound is amplified, distorted, and impossible to locate. These experiences are most frequently reported when the forest is otherwise quiet, allowing the faint calls to carry over the natural sounds of the falls and creek. The waterfall itself, cascading over jagged rocks into a shallow pool below, appears to be a focal point for much of the activity. Mist rising from the falls often produces fleeting shapes, giving the impression of figures emerging from the spray. Witnesses report seeing outlines of people moving through the mist, standing on rocks, or walking along the water's edge. These forms frequently disappear as quickly as they appear, leaving only the memory of their movement and the sense of an unseen presence lingering nearby. Some hikers claim to feel sudden, inexplicable chills when these shapes appear, or a pressure in the air, as though the environment itself is responding to the unseen. Along the winding trails that approach the falls, hikers often encounter auditory anomalies beyond the voices calling names. The sounds of footsteps echo across rocks and packed dirt, sometimes following visitors for short stretches before fading away. Others report faint murmurs or whispers that rise from between the trees, blending with the rush of water to create a chilling and otherworldly atmosphere. The acoustics of the forest and creek seem to amplify these sounds, producing an effect that is both realistic and impossible to pinpoint, reinforcing the idea that unseen entities might be moving alongside those who walk the paths. Photographs and recordings occasionally provide subtle evidence of the unexplained activity at Vickery Creek Falls. Long exposure images sometimes capture faint shapes moving along the water or in the mist, while videos have occasionally shown shadows that shift independently of hikers or wildlife. Audio recordings have picked up murmurs, footsteps, or whispers not audible during the original visit, adding credence to the first-hand reports. These anomalies, while often fleeting, leave a lingering impression that the falls are more than a scenic destination. They are a place where natural beauty and mystery coexist. Even longtime visitors and nature guides acknowledge the peculiar energy surrounding Vickery Creek Falls. The combination of cascading water, dense forest, and moss-covered rocks creates an environment where perception is heightened and the imagination is easily engaged. Those who experience the phantom figures, moving objects, or disembodied voices often describe feelings of awe, fear, and fascination, an emotional mix that underscores the fall's enigmatic allure. Many hikers leave the area with stories that linger in their minds, a sense of having encountered something beyond the ordinary, a presence that exists just at the edge of perception. Vickery Creek Falls is more than just a picturesque waterfall. Phantom figures glide across the stream. Books and belongings move inexplicably along the trails, and faint voices call names from the forest, creating an experience that is both beautiful and unsettling. Visitors who walk the winding paths, pause to admire the cascading water, or linger near the creek sense the presence of unseen entities, a subtle energy that inhabits the falls and the surrounding forest. For all its natural charm, Vickery Creek Falls holds a layer of mystery that invites curiosity, wonder, and a lingering sense of the supernatural, leaving each visitor with memories of both awe and the unexplained. Burgess Falls, located in the heart of Tennessee, is a breathtaking cascade that plunges nearly 136 feet into the gorge below, surrounded by rugged cliffs and dense forest. Its beauty is undeniable, attracting hikers, nature enthusiasts, and photographers eager to capture the raw power of the waterfall and the serenity of the surrounding park. Yet, for all its natural allure, Burgess Falls carries a dark and haunting history. Locals speak of a man who tragically drowned attempting to rescue a visitor swept away by the rushing water, and since that fateful day, numerous witnesses have reported ghostly figures on the cliff edges, strange lights hovering above the falls, and the chilling echo of phantom screams carried through the canyon. These accounts have given the falls a reputation as a place where beauty and tragedy intertwine, where nature's majesty is shadowed by lingering spirits and unexplained phenomena. The first strange occurrences often appear along the winding trails that lead to the waterfall. Visitors recount seeing figures on the cliff edges, silhouetted against the mist rising from the falls. These forms are sometimes described as men in period clothing, perhaps recalling the man who drowned in the waters below, while others appear more shadow-like, with indistinct outlines that seem to flicker in and out of existence. Hikers often report feeling a sudden, inexplicable chill when these figures are sighted, a coldness that passes through the body as if carried by an unseen presence. The figures are rarely stationary. Some seem to move along the ledges, pausing to observe the rushing water or to gesture toward the falls before vanishing entirely. Strange lights are another common phenomenon associated with Burgess Falls. Witnesses describe glowing orbs hovering over the water or floating near the cliffs, sometimes pulsating softly, other times darting swiftly across the gorge. These lights appear in both daylight and darkness, defying natural explanation, and are often reported in the same areas where ghostly figures are seen. Many hikers have tried to photograph these anomalies, yet the images often capture only faint blurs or inexplicable streaks of light, suggesting the phenomenon is difficult to capture fully on camera. The lights seem to follow no predictable pattern, sometimes appearing in clusters, sometimes alone, creating an otherworldly ambience that leaves visitors both awestruck and uneasy. Perhaps the most unnerving reports involve phantom screams that echo through the gorge. Visitors have heard high-pitched cries or anguished shouts rising from the mist, sounding as though someone is in desperate peril. These screams are often accompanied by sudden gusts of wind, cold spots, or the feeling of being watched. Many hikers describe a moment of paralyzing fear, unable to discern whether the sounds are real or echoes of past tragedies. The canyon amplifies the cries, making them seem closer or more distant than expected, adding to the disorienting effect and the impression that the spirit of the drowned man lingers, forever replaying the desperate moments of his failed rescue. The waterfall itself is a focal point for much of the paranormal activity. The mist rising from the cascade often creates fleeting shapes, appearing to form human figures in motion, as if replaying scenes of the past. Witnesses report seeing shadows on the rocks or ledges, sometimes appearing to climb or descend the cliffs with unnatural grace. The spray of the water adds an ethereal quality, making figures appear semi-transparent and constantly shifting. Many hikers note that these sightings are often accompanied by a sense of unease, as though the air itself is charged with residual energy from the tragic events that occurred decades ago. Objects moving inexplicably along the trails have also been reported near Burgess Falls. Backpacks, water bottles, and hiking gear sometimes shift position without explanation. Rocks placed in specific arrangements are occasionally found disturbed, as if unseen hands have rearranged them. Some visitors report hearing the sound of footsteps, crunching gravel, or rustling leaves when no one else is present, reinforcing the impression that the area is not only haunted by visual apparitions but also by tactile and auditory phenomena. Photographs and recordings occasionally provide subtle evidence of these unexplained activities. Long exposure photos have captured faint silhouettes near the cliff edges, and video footage sometimes reveals shifting shadows or lights that were invisible to the naked eye. Audio recordings have picked up cries, footsteps, or murmurs that were not heard in person. While these anomalies are often subtle, they support the accounts of hikers and park goers, suggesting that Burgess Falls is a site where the natural and supernatural intersect in compelling and mysterious ways. Even experienced hikers and local guides acknowledge the peculiar energy of the falls. The combination of rushing water, sheer cliffs, and dense forests creates an environment where perception is heightened and the imagination is easily engaged. Those who encounter ghostly figures, strange lights, or phantom screams often describe a lingering emotional response, a mixture of awe, fear, and fascination that stays with them long after leaving the park. Visitors frequently remark on the sensation of stepping into a place where time and reality feel fluid, where the echoes of past tragedies remain intertwined with the natural splendor of the falls. Burgess Falls is more than a scenic destination. Ghostly figures linger on cliff edges, glowing lights drift above the rushing waters, and phantom screams echo through the gorge, creating an experience that is both breathtaking and unsettling. Hikers who explore the trails, pause near the base of the falls, or stand atop the cliffs often feel the presence of something beyond ordinary perception, a subtle, persistent energy that inhabits the canyon and its waterfall. Burgess Falls is a place where natural beauty meets mystery, where tragedy and the unexplained converge, leaving an indelible impression on all who venture into its mist-shrouded, haunting landscape. Falling Water Creek Falls, tucked away in the lush woodlands of Pennsylvania, is a scenic waterfall renowned for its tranquil beauty and a gentle cascade of water over moss-covered rocks. Surrounded by towering trees and dense undergrowth, The creek and its falls create a serene escape for hikers, photographers, and nature enthusiasts. Yet, amid the peaceful ambience, the falls have garnered a reputation for inexplicable occurrences. Visitors frequently report seeing apparitions walking along the rocks, experiencing sudden cold spots near the water, and hearing whispers echoing through the forest. These accounts give the falls an eerie quality, blending the natural splendor of the location with a sense of lingering mystery. The first unsettling experiences often take place along the trails leading to the waterfall. Hikers report catching glimpses of figures moving along the rocks near the water, sometimes fully formed human shapes, other times shadowy silhouettes. These figures are most often seen in the corners of the eye, vanishing or shifting whenever looked at directly. Some witnesses describe them as ethereal forms, gliding gracefully across the rocks as if unbound by gravity, while others appear more like fleeting reflections of people from a distant past. Many hikers note the feeling of being observed as they navigate the uneven terrain, a subtle awareness that unseen presences are watching their every move. Cold spots are a common phenomenon experienced near the falls. Even on warm summer days, visitors often report sudden drops in temperature as they approach certain areas of the creek. These chills are usually localized, sharp, and seemingly centered around the rocks and water's edge. Hikers describe feeling the air grow heavy and cold, often accompanied by goosebumps or a prickling sensation on the skin. Some speculate that these cold spots coincide with the presence of the apparitions, as if the fallen water and surrounding rocks are channels for residual energy from unseen entities. Whispers echoing through the forest add another layer of intrigue to Falling Water Creek Falls. Many visitors have recounted hearing faint murmurs or hushed voices that seem to rise from the trees and rocks themselves. These whispers often mimic conversations or repeat words spoken moments before, creating an unnerving sensation that the forest is alive and listening. The echoes are amplified by the natural acoustics of the creek and the surrounding canyon, making it difficult to determine their source. Hikers frequently pause, scanning the forest for the origin of the sounds, only to find silence and stillness where voices seemed to emanate. The falls themselves appear to be a focal point for much of the activity. Mist rises from the cascading water, forming a thin veil that shimmers in the sunlight, and within this mist, figures are often reported to appear. Visitors describe shadows moving along the spray, sometimes taking the shape of people, sometimes remaining as indistinct forms that seem to shift and blur with the flow of water. Some hikers feel a tug toward the edge of the falls, an inexplicable pull, as though the waterfall itself holds a memory or energy that draws the living closer. Those who pause near the mist often report intensified experiences, colder air, sharper whispers, and more vivid glimpses of apparitions. Along the winding trails, hikers have also noted the movement of objects without explanation. Rocks are sometimes displaced. Branches are found broken in unusual ways. Some visitors hear the crunch of footsteps on gravel and leaves when no one else is present, adding to the feeling that the area is inhabited by more than just the natural world. These tactile and auditory phenomena, combined with visual sightings and temperature anomalies, create a fully immersive sense of the supernatural around the falls. Photographs and audio recordings occasionally provide additional evidence of the unexplained. Long exposure images have captured faint shadows or figures along the creek rocks and in the mist above the falls, shapes that were not visible to the naked eye at the time. Video footage sometimes shows lights or movements along the water that defy explanation, while audio recordings have picked up whispers, murmurs, or footsteps absent during the original visit. While subtle, these anomalies reinforce the accounts of those who have walked the trails and witnessed the unexplained phenomena firsthand. Even experienced hikers and local guides acknowledge the unusual energy surrounding Falling Water Creek Falls. The combination of rushing water, towering trees, and mist-shrouded rocks creates an environment where perception is heightened and the senses are more acute. Those who encounter apparitions, cold spots, or whispered voices often leave with a lingering sense of awe mixed with unease. Many describe an emotional response that stays with them for days. a reminder that the forest and creek are more than just picturesque landscapes. They are places where the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary becomes blurred. Falling Water Creek Falls is more than a scenic waterfall in Pennsylvania. Apparitions walk silently along the rocks. Cold spots chill the air near the cascading water, and whispers echo through the dense forest, creating an atmosphere that is both captivating and unsettling. Visitors who traverse the trails, pause near the edge of the falls, or linger in the mist often sense the presence of something beyond normal perception, an unseen energy that inhabits the rocks, the water, and the forest. Falling Water Creek Falls is a location where natural beauty and the supernatural converge, leaving a lasting impression on all who venture into its misty, mysterious embrace. Cotterskill Falls, nestled in the Catskill Mountains of New York, plunges an impressive 260 feet in two dramatic tiers, carving a deep gorge that has long attracted hikers, painters, and tourists seeking the grandeur of the natural landscape. Its beauty is undeniable, with mist rising from the cascading waters, cliffs draped in foliage, and a creek that winds its way through the rugged terrain below. Yet beneath the picturesque exterior, the falls have earned a reputation for tragedy and the unexplained. Over the years, numerous accidents have occurred here, and visitors and locals alike report experiences that suggest the area may be haunted. Shadowy figures on the cliffside, floating lights over the gorge, and the echoes of cries at night have all been documented, lending Cotterskill Falls an air of mystery that lingers alongside its natural splendor. The most common and unsettling encounters occur along the cliffside trails that lead to the viewing platforms. Hikers frequently report seeing shadowy forms perched on ledges or moving along narrow paths where no one else is present. These apparitions are often indistinct, appearing as dark silhouettes that shift with the mist or blend into the rock face. Witnesses describe a variety of shapes, some resembling humans in period clothing, others more spectral, gliding silently across the cliffs or standing motionless before vanishing. The figures often appear near areas where accidents have historically occurred, adding a sense of tragic resonance to the sightings. Many hikers report a sudden chill in the air when these figures are seen, a coldness that seems to pass through the body and linger in the bones. Floating lights are another phenomenon reported at Cotterskill Falls. Observers describe orbs of light hovering above the water or along the edges of the cliffs, sometimes glowing faintly and sometimes pulsing with an eerie intensity. These lights are visible both during twilight and after dark, and they appear to move independently of any natural source. Some visitors attempt to follow them, only to find that they vanish or change position when approached. Photographs occasionally capture these orbs, though often they appear as faint blurs or streaks, reinforcing the ephemeral nature of the phenomenon. Many locals believe these lights are connected to the spirits of those who met tragic ends near the falls, a spectral presence lingering in the night. Perhaps the most haunting experiences at Cotterskill Falls involve the echoes of cries that ripple through the gorge. Visitors report hearing anguished shouts or high-pitched screams, often when the forest is otherwise quiet. These cries are unnervingly human, carrying tones of fear, pain, and desperation that seem to originate from deep within the cliffs or from the waterfall itself. The acoustics of the gorge amplify the sounds, making it impossible to pinpoint their source. Many hikers describe the experience as chilling, leaving them frozen in place for a moment before continuing along the trail. Some interpret the sounds as the lingering cries of victims of past accidents, replaying a moment of tragedy over and over in the canyon. The falls themselves seem to be a focal point for much of the paranormal activity. Mist rises from the cascading water, forming a shifting veil that often distorts the shapes and shadows along the cliffs. Witnesses report seeing figures materialize in the mist, standing on ledges or moving along paths that are otherwise inaccessible. These forms appear fleeting and ethereal, sometimes lingering just long enough to be noticed before dissolving into the swirling spray. Hikers have described the feeling of being drawn toward certain spots, as though the waterfall and its surrounding cliffs hold memories or energies that subtly guide those who enter the area. Along the trails, visitors have also reported objects moving inexplicably. Rocks, sticks, and other small items occasionally shift positions as if handled by invisible hands. Some hikers report hearing footsteps on gravel or rustling leaves when no one is present, reinforcing the idea that unseen presences share the paths with those who walk there. Others experience the sensation of being lightly touched on the shoulder or arm, accompanied by a soft whisper that seems to come from nowhere. These phenomena, combined with visual and auditory encounters, create a multifaceted sense of the supernatural that is difficult to ignore. Photographs and recordings have sometimes captured anomalies at Waterfalls Falls. Long exposure images reveal faint silhouettes along cliff edges or near the waterfall, while videos occasionally record movements or lights invisible to the human eye. Audio recordings have picked up ghostly murmurs, footsteps, or cries that were not heard in person. While subtle, these pieces of evidence add weight to the reports of visitors who have experienced the fall's more unsettling side, reinforcing the sense that Waterfalls is more than just a scenic destination. Even experienced hikers and guides acknowledge the unique atmosphere surrounding the falls. The combination of rushing water, sheer cliffs, and dense forest creates an environment that heightens the senses and challenges perception. Those who encounter shadowy figures, floating lights, or phantom cries often leave with a lingering mix of awe and unease. A reminder that nature can hold both beauty and mystery in equal measure. Visitors frequently describe the sensation of stepping into a place where the past and present intersect, where the tragedies of the cliffs continue to echo through the mist and along the trails. Waterfalls Falls is more than a majestic waterfall. In New York's Catskills, shadowy figures roam the cliffs, ethereal lights float above the gorge, and cries of unseen victims echo in the night, creating an atmosphere that is both breathtaking and unsettling. Hikers who traverse the trails, pause near the viewing platforms, or linger at the base of the falls often sense the presence of something beyond ordinary perception, an invisible energy that inhabits the rocks, the mist, and the forest. Waterfalls Falls is a place where natural beauty intertwines with lingering tragedy and the unexplained, leaving an indelible impression on all who venture into its misty, mysterious depths. Silver Falls, located in the heart of Oregon, is a breathtaking cascade nestled within a dense, moss-covered forest. The waterfall plunges gracefully over jagged rocks, feeding the creek below, while a network of winding trails allows visitors to experience its beauty from multiple angles. For most, Silver Falls is a serene haven, where the sounds of rushing water and chirping birds create a sense of peace. Yet, amid its natural splendor, many hikers and local visitors have reported experiences that defy explanation. Apparitions along the trails, strange mists that move against the wind, and phantom footsteps among the rocks have all contributed to the fall's eerie reputation, creating an atmosphere where nature and the supernatural appear to coexist. The first reports often come from those walking the trails that wind through the forest surrounding Silver Falls. Hikers have described seeing figures moving among the trees or across the rocky paths, sometimes fully formed human shapes, other times shadowy, indistinct silhouettes. These apparitions are often fleeting, appearing in peripheral vision before vanishing when directly observed. Some witnesses report seeing figures dressed in outdated clothing, as if from another era, while others describe ghostly outlines that shift and blur against the forest backdrop. Many hikers speak of an unsettling sensation of being watched, an invisible presence that follows them silently along the trail, heightening the sense that Silver Falls is more than just a scenic location. Strange mists are another phenomenon reported at the falls. Visitors often notice clouds of mist rising from the cascading water, but in many cases, the fog seems to behave unnaturally. Witnesses describe it moving against the wind or forming distinct shapes that drift along the trail before dispersing. Some hikers have reported mist coalescing into humanoid forms, hovering just above the rocks or gliding through the forest. These mists appear most often near the waterfall itself or along the edges of the creek, where the moisture interacts with the rocks and air currents. The unusual movement of the fog is accompanied by sudden chills and a feeling of weight in the atmosphere, as if the environment itself has become charged with an unseen energy. Phantom footsteps add another layer to the fall's mysterious reputation. Hikers frequently report hearing the crunch of gravel, the snap of twigs, or soft footfalls echoing across rocks when no one else is present. The sounds often follow visitors for brief stretches of the trail, sometimes stopping abruptly or fading into the distance without explanation. In certain areas near the waterfall, footsteps have been heard climbing rocks or echoing along narrow ledges where no other hiker could reasonably be present. Some witnesses describe the sensation of being lightly brushed by an unseen presence or hearing their name whispered alongside the steps, intensifying the feeling that something beyond the ordinary is walking alongside them. The waterfall itself seems to amplify much of the activity. Mist rises from the plunging water, creating a veil that distorts shapes and light, allowing fleeting images to take on ghostly appearances. Hikers have described glimpsing silhouettes moving among the spray, some standing on rocks, others appearing to float momentarily before vanishing into the fog. The interplay of water, mist, and sunlight creates shifting shadows that can make ordinary movements seem uncanny. But many witnesses are adamant that what they saw was more than a trick of light. The falls seem to act as a focal point, a place where natural beauty and unexplained phenomena converge. Along the trails and creek, hikers have also reported small, inexplicable movements of objects. Rocks and branches occasionally shift without apparent cause, and personal belongings such as hats, water bottles, or walking sticks have been found in altered positions. Some visitors hear footsteps accompanying these movements, though no one is present. Others notice that the sounds of flowing water or wind are suddenly joined by soft whispers or murmurs, creating an eerie soundtrack that seems to accompany the unseen activity. These auditory and tactile phenomena, combined with visual sightings, make the forest around Silver Falls a place of heightened sensory awareness and tension. Photographs and recordings occasionally capture anomalies at Silver Falls. Long exposure images sometimes reveal shadowy figures on rocks or within the mist that were invisible to the naked eye. Videos occasionally show shapes moving independently of hikers, and audio recordings have captured whispers, footfalls, and subtle murmurs that were not heard in person. While these pieces of evidence are often subtle, they add weight to the numerous first-hand accounts of ghostly sightings and unusual activity, suggesting that Silver Falls is a location where natural beauty and the supernatural intersect. Even experienced hikers and guides acknowledge the unique energy surrounding Silver Falls. The combination of rushing water, dense forest, and moss-covered rocks creates an environment where perception is heightened and the imagination is easily engaged. Those who encounter apparitions, moving mist, or phantom footsteps often describe a lingering sense of awe, mixed with unease, a recognition that the falls are more than a mere scenic destination. Visitors leave with memories that are as chilling as they are beautiful, a reminder that the forest and falls hold secrets beyond ordinary perception. Silver Falls is more than just a picturesque waterfall in Oregon. Apparitions glide silently along the trails, mists move in impossible ways, and phantom footsteps echo among the rocks, creating an atmosphere that is both mesmerizing and unsettling. Hikers who explore the forest, pause near the waterfall, or walk along the winding creek paths often sense the presence of something unseen, a subtle, persistent energy that inhabits the rocks, water, and trees. Silver Falls is a place where natural splendor meets the unexplained, leaving an indelible impression on all who venture into its mist-shrouded, mysterious terrain. Horsetail Falls, located in California's iconic Yosemite Valley, is a waterfall renowned for its cascading beauty and the way it glows with golden light during certain times of the year. Framed by sheer granite cliffs and surrounded by dense pine forests, the falls draw hikers, photographers, and nature enthusiasts from across the globe, eager to witness its natural splendor. But beyond its breathtaking views, Horsetail Falls has earned a reputation for strange and unexplained occurrences. Visitors often report seeing ghostly figures climbing the cliffs, strange lights flickering in the mist, and cold drafts that appear suddenly along the hiking trails, creating an unsettling atmosphere that transforms the serene landscape into a place of mystery and eerie fascination. The first experiences typically occur along the trails leading toward the base of the falls. Hikers have recounted seeing figures scaling the granite cliffs, their movements deliberate yet ethereal. These apparitions often appear in the corners of vision and vanish when looked at directly. Some witnesses describe them as climbers from a bygone era, dressed in worn or outdated clothing, while others appear as shadowy shapes, slipping silently across vertical rock faces with an unnatural grace. Even seasoned climbers have paused mid-ascent, claiming to see silhouettes moving independently of any human presence, leaving an impression that the cliffs themselves may be haunted by those who have perished attempting to scale them. Strange lights are another phenomenon frequently reported at Horsetail Falls. Mist rises from the waterfall, creating a thin, rolling veil that seems to bend and shift with the wind. Within this mist, visitors have observed glowing orbs or flickering lights that appear to float, hover, or dart suddenly across the scene. These lights seem to defy natural explanations, appearing both during daylight and after dusk. Some hikers describe them as warm, amber glows that resemble lanterns, while others report cool, bluish pulses that move unpredictably. Photographs often capture these lights as faint streaks or blurred shapes, reinforcing the perception that they are not mere reflections or camera anomalies. Many believe these lights represent lingering energies of those who met untimely fates along the cliffs or are manifestations of the fall's own mysterious presence. Cold drafts are another unsettling feature of the falls. Hikers frequently report sudden drops in temperature along the trail, even on sunny and warm days. These drafts are localized and intense, often accompanied by a shiver or goosebumps, and sometimes occur in areas devoid of natural wind. Visitors describe feeling a presence as the air turns icy, as if unseen eyes are watching from the shadows. These cold spots are often noted near the cliffs, along narrow pathways, or close to the mist rising from the falls, creating the impression that the energy surrounding Horsetail Falls is concentrated and almost tangible. The falls themselves serve as a focal point for many of these experiences. The cascading water generates mist that rises and spreads across the rocks, creating a constantly shifting landscape where shadows and shapes can appear suddenly. Many hikers report seeing ghostly forms within the spray, figures that climb, glide, or stand still momentarily before vanishing. Some describe fleeting glimpses of faces in the mist, or movements that seem to mimic human gestures. The interplay between water, light, and fog makes the phenomena appear fluid and otherworldly, leaving a lingering impression of a place where reality and the supernatural intersect. Footsteps and sounds add another layer to the mysterious activity. Along the trails and near the base of the falls, hikers have reported hearing crunches, shuffles, or distant footfalls when no one else is present. Some recount whispers carried on the wind, faint murmurs that seem to call names or repeat phrases. These auditory experiences often accompany sightings of figures or strange lights, reinforcing the feeling that Horsetail Falls is inhabited by presences invisible to the naked eye. Even objects left on rocks or along the trail are sometimes found displaced, as though nudged by unseen hands. These occurrences, while subtle, contribute to the pervasive sense of unease and fascination that envelops the area. Photographs and video recordings occasionally provide evidence of unexplained activity at Horsetail Falls. Long exposure images have captured faint silhouettes on the cliffs or ghostly shapes in the mist that were not visible when the photo was taken. Videos sometimes show lights moving independently of hikers or subtle movements along rock faces. Audio recordings have revealed whispers, footsteps, or rustling sounds absent during the actual visit. While these anomalies are often subtle and difficult to interpret, they reinforce the numerous eyewitness accounts of paranormal or unusual activity in the vicinity of the falls. Even experienced hikers and local guides acknowledge the unique energy surrounding Horsetail Falls, The combination of sheer granite cliffs, rushing water, dense forest, and drifting mist creates an environment that heightens awareness and amplifies perception. Those who encounter ghostly figures, mysterious lights, or sudden cold drafts often leave with a sense of awe, tinged with unease. Visitors frequently describe lingering sensations, a feeling that the cliffs and falls hold memories of the past, and that the waterfall itself is alive with unseen presences. Horsetail Falls is more than a spectacular natural landmark in California. Ghostly figures climb the cliffs, strange lights flicker in the mist, and sudden cold drafts brush along the trails, creating an experience that is simultaneously beautiful and unsettling. Hikers who explore the forested paths, pause near the waterfall, or linger on the rocky ledges often sense the presence of something beyond ordinary perception. Horsetail Falls is a place where natural majesty and unexplained phenomena converge, leaving a lasting impression on all who venture into its mist-shrouded, mysterious landscape. Tallulah Falls, nestled in the rugged landscapes of northeastern Georgia, is a series of cascading waterfalls that cut through a deep gorge, drawing hikers, tourists, and photographers seeking the dramatic beauty of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The gorge, carved over millennia by the Tallulah River, creates a striking combination of rock formations, rushing water, and dense forest. Visitors come for the breathtaking views and the tranquility of nature. Yet, over the years, Tallulah Falls has developed a reputation for the mysterious and the unexplained. Witnesses report shadowy figures near the gorge, floating lights above the waterfalls, and phantom cries echoing through the forest, creating an eerie atmosphere that contrasts sharply with the natural splendor of the area. Many accounts begin along the trails leading toward the falls and the edge of the gorge. Hikers often describe glimpsing shadowy figures standing or moving near the cliff edges, figures that vanish when approached or directly observed. Some appear to be human silhouettes, perhaps lost travelers or figures from the past, while others are indistinct forms that shift and blur against the trees and rocks. These apparitions frequently appear during quiet moments, when the only sounds are the rush of water and the wind through the trees. Witnesses have reported a chilling sensation of being watched, as if the shadows themselves were aware of their presence, heightening a feeling of unease as they navigate the narrow trails or peer over the gorge. Floating lights above the waterfall are another phenomenon that has drawn attention. Observers describe orbs of light drifting silently over the cascade, sometimes glowing with a soft amber hue, and other times with a cooler, bluish tone. These lights often move against the wind or linger in one spot before disappearing without explanation. Some hikers have described the lights as appearing in patterns, almost as if guiding them along certain parts of the trail, while others see them flicker in and out, hovering above the water like spirits suspended in time. Photographs occasionally capture faint streaks or blurred orbs, reinforcing the sense that these lights are not mere optical illusions, but something more enigmatic. Many speculate that they are connected to tragic events that have occurred near the gorge over the years, lingering energies manifesting in a visible form. Phantom cries are among the most unnerving aspects of Tallulah Falls. Visitors frequently report hearing anguished screams, faint sobs, or murmured calls echoing through the forest, often when the trails are otherwise empty. The acoustics of the gorge amplify the sound, making it difficult to pinpoint its source. Some hikers describe the cries as human in nature, full of fear, desperation, and sorrow, and they often seem to rise from the falls themselves or from the dense foliage that lines the river. Others report hearing names whispered or phrases repeated softly, carried by the wind through the trees. These auditory experiences leave a lingering sense of unease, as if the forest and waterfalls hold memories of past tragedies that replay invisibly for those who wander the area. The waterfalls themselves appear to be a focal point for much of the reported activity. Mist rises from the cascading water, creating a veil that distorts shapes and light, allowing fleeting images to appear suddenly and vanish just as quickly. Witnesses have reported seeing shadowy figures in the spray, sometimes standing on rocks along the edge of the water or moving across ledges that are otherwise inaccessible. The mist acts as a natural screen, amplifying the uncanny movements of these figures and blending them seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. Hikers often describe an emotional response that combines awe at the beauty of the falls with a creeping sense of dread, as if they have stepped into a place where the living and the unseen coexist. Along the trails and near the water, visitors have also noted small, inexplicable movements of objects. Rocks are sometimes found displaced, sticks broken in unusual ways, and personal items such as water bottles, hats, or cameras appear to have shifted overnight or during a brief stop. Some hikers hear footsteps or rustling leaves when no one else is present, reinforcing the idea that unseen presences walk alongside the living. Others report feeling light touches or brief chills, often coinciding with sightings of shadows or mysterious lights. These sensory experiences, visual, auditory, and tactile, combine to create an atmosphere that is both captivating and unsettling. Photographs and recordings have occasionally captured anomalies at Tallulah Falls. Long exposure images reveal faint silhouettes on cliff edges or within the mist, shapes that were invisible to the naked eye at the time. Videos sometimes show lights moving independently or figures darting along the rocks, while audio recordings have picked up ghostly whispers, footsteps, or faint cries that were not present during the visit. While subtle and often open to interpretation, these artifacts lend credibility to the numerous first-hand accounts of paranormal activity in the area. Even experienced hikers and guides acknowledge the peculiar energy surrounding Tallulah Falls. The combination of rushing water, steep cliffs, dense forest, and drifting mist creates an environment where perception is heightened, and ordinary sensations can take on an extraordinary quality. Those who encounter shadowy figures, floating lights, or phantom cries often leave with a lingering sense of awe, mixed with unease, a feeling that the gorge holds memories and presences beyond the understanding of the living. Tallulah Falls is more than a scenic natural wonder in Georgia. Shadowy figures roam the cliffs, glowing lights drift above the waterfall, and phantom cries echo through the forest, blending natural beauty with unexplained phenomena. Visitors who explore the trails, pause at the viewing platforms, or linger near the base of the falls often sense an unseen presence that inhabits the gorge, mist, and forest alike. Tallulah Falls is a place where breathtaking scenery intersects with mystery and the supernatural, leaving a lasting impression on all who venture into its shadowed, mist-laden depths. Great Falls, located along the Potomac River in Northern Virginia, is known for its dramatic cascades, rugged cliffs, and scenic trails that wind through dense forests overlooking the turbulent water. The falls are a popular destination for hikers, nature enthusiasts, and photographers, drawn to the roaring water and breathtaking vistas. Yet beneath the natural beauty of the park, many visitors have reported strange and unexplainable experiences. Locals recount sightings of apparitions along the trails, sudden cold spots near the water, and voices calling names from seemingly empty spaces, creating an eerie atmosphere that contrasts with the otherwise serene environment. The most common encounters occur along the network of trails that skirt the edges of the falls and follow the river. Hikers have described seeing figures moving along the paths, often appearing suddenly and vanishing just as quickly. These apparitions vary in form. Some appear as shadowy silhouettes, while others resemble fully formed humans dressed in old-fashioned clothing, as though they stepped out of another era. Witnesses often note a sense of being observed, a quiet awareness that someone or something is nearby even when no other hikers are visible. The presence is subtle but persistent, enough to make hikers pause or turn back, feeling an inexplicable tension along otherwise peaceful paths. Cold spots are another phenomenon frequently reported at Great Falls. Visitors have described sudden drops in temperature near the water or along the cliffs, often accompanied by a shiver or goosebumps. These cold drafts can occur on warm days, and they are often localized, forming pockets of icy air that seem to radiate from the ground or the rocks themselves. Many hikers report a feeling of weight in the air, a sensation that something unseen is present, and a sudden chill that lingers longer than expected. These cold spots are often accompanied by other phenomena, such as faint whispers, rustling in the brush, or fleeting glimpses of movement out of the corner of the eye. Voices calling names add another layer of mystery to the falls. Visitors have reported hearing their names spoken softly or murmured from the direction of the river or the forest, even when they are completely alone. The voices are often faint, carried on the wind, and difficult to trace, creating an unsettling sense of intimacy. Some hikers describe these sounds as urgent, almost pleading, while others note a distant, sorrowful tone. The voices are most commonly heard near the cliffs, where the echoes of the gorge amplify sound. But they have been reported along trails and at overlooks as well. Many who experience these calls feel a mix of fear and curiosity, compelled to look for the source but unable to find any logical explanation. The falls themselves seem to play a central role in these unusual experiences. The rushing water produces constant movement and mist, creating an environment where shadows and light shift continuously. Witnesses often report seeing fleeting figures within the spray or along the rocky ledges, sometimes stationary and sometimes moving against the flow of the trail. These forms appear ethereal, disappearing as quickly as they are noticed, leaving hikers questioning what they saw. The combination of mist, water, and forest creates natural illusions. But the consistency and frequency of reports suggests that some encounters may go beyond ordinary perception. Along the cliffs and trails, hikers also notice small, inexplicable movements of objects. Rocks, twigs, and fallen leaves occasionally shift or fall without any apparent cause, and some visitors find personal items displaced when they return to a resting spot. Sounds accompany these movements: footsteps crunching on gravel, leaves rustling, or soft murmurs, yet no other hikers are present. Witnesses often report the sensation of being lightly touched or brushed by something unseen, reinforcing the impression that the area is inhabited by presences not visible to the naked eye. These subtle but persistent experiences contribute to the overall sense of unease that pervades Great Falls. Blending natural majesty with the inexplicable, photographs and recordings have occasionally captured anomalies at Great Falls. Long exposure images sometimes reveal faint silhouettes on the cliffs or near the water, shapes that were not visible at the time the photo was taken. Videos may show lights moving independently or subtle shadows shifting across the rocks. Audio recordings have captured whispers, footsteps, and faint calls that were not audible during the actual visit. While these pieces of evidence are often subtle and open to interpretation, they reinforce the consistent reports of sightings, cold spots, and unexplained voices from countless hikers and visitors over the years. Even local guides and experienced hikers acknowledge the unique energy of Great Falls. The combination of rushing water, sheer cliffs, dense trees, and shifting mist creates an environment that heightens awareness and amplifies perception. Those who encounter apparitions, cold drafts, or phantom voices often leave with a sense of awe mixed with unease, a lingering impression that the falls are more than just a scenic, natural landmark. Many describe the experience as stepping into a place where the present intersects with the past, where lingering memories and unseen presences remain connected to the land and water. Great Falls is more than a stunning natural feature in Virginia. Shadowy figures roam the trails, sudden cold spots chill the air near the water, and unseen voices call names through the forest. Visitors who explore the trails, pause near the cliffs, or linger along the river often sense the presence of something beyond the ordinary. A subtle but undeniable energy that inhabits the gorge, the mist, and the surrounding woods. Great Falls is a place where natural beauty and unexplained phenomena meet, leaving a lasting impression on all who venture into its rugged, mysterious terrain. Rainbow Falls, located on the lush island of Hawaii, is a breathtaking waterfall that plunges into a crystal-clear pool surrounded by dense jungle. The falls are named for the frequent rainbows that appear in the mist, a natural spectacle that draws locals, tourists, and nature enthusiasts from around the world. But beneath the tropical beauty of Rainbow Falls lies a reputation steeped in mystery and the supernatural. Visitors have long reported sightings of shadowy figures emerging from the mist, floating lights that drift over the pool, and whispers echoing through the dense jungle, creating an atmosphere that blends the serene power of nature with a palpable sense of the unknown. The mist rising from Rainbow Falls is often the first setting for strange encounters. Tourists and hikers describe seeing shadowy figures moving within the mist, their outlines faint but unmistakable. Some appear humanoid, while others are more abstract, shifting with the spray and light. Witnesses often report that the figures vanish when directly observed, as if the act of looking disrupts their presence. Locals suggest that these apparitions are the spirits of ancient Hawaiians, guardians of the land, who have remained tethered to the waterfall for centuries. Hikers frequently pause at the viewing platforms, mesmerized by the interplay of water, mist, and shadow, sometimes catching glimpses of these fleeting forms before they disappear into the jungle. Floating lights are another commonly reported phenomenon at Rainbow Falls. Visitors describe small orbs of light hovering above the waterfall, often shifting position or moving against the wind in ways that defy natural explanation. The lights sometimes glow with warm, golden hues, blending with the sunlit mist, while at other times, they appear cool and bluish, casting an ethereal glow over the jungle canopy. Photographers have captured these lights as faint streaks or glowing orbs in long-exposure images, reinforcing the sense that something otherworldly resides in the mist. Many locals believe these lights represent the spirits of those who once lived near the falls, manifesting to guide, warn, or simply observe those who approach. The jungle surrounding Rainbow Falls adds to the supernatural ambience. The dense foliage, towering trees, and hidden pathways create pockets of darkness, where visitors feel unseen eyes upon them. Echoing whispers are frequently reported, soft murmurs carried on the wind that seem to call names or repeat fragmented phrases. These whispers appear to come from all directions, often blending with the sound of the cascading water to create an otherworldly soundtrack. Hikers have reported that the whispers sometimes grow clearer as they move closer to the pool at the base of the falls, as if the spirits are drawing attention to specific points along the water or within the jungle. The combination of whispering voices, shadowy figures, and floating lights leaves visitors with a deep sense of awe and unease. The falls themselves serve as a focal point for many supernatural experiences. As water plunges into the pool below, mist rises in thick clouds, creating a natural veil that distorts shapes and lights. Hikers and tourists often report seeing figures standing on the rocks along the edge of the pool or moving silently through the mist, disappearing when approached. The fall's natural acoustics amplify every sound: the rush of water, a whispered word, or the snap of a branch, creating an environment in which ordinary sounds can seem uncanny, and ordinary movement can appear ghostly. Visitors often describe an emotional response that mixes reverence for the natural beauty with a creeping sense of unease, a feeling that the falls are alive with unseen presence. Small, unexplained movements of objects are also reported near Rainbow Falls. Rocks may shift inexplicably along the trail. Leaves may fall in clusters from trees. And personal items such as cameras or water bottles sometimes appear in altered positions. These incidents are often accompanied by other phenomena, such as sudden cold drafts, rustling leaves, or distant footsteps, even when no one else is nearby. Witnesses frequently describe the sensation of being lightly touched by an unseen presence or feeling the brush of invisible energy as they navigate the paths around the waterfall. These subtle occurrences add to the impression that Rainbow Falls is more than just a scenic destination. It is a place infused with lingering energy from the past. Photographs and recordings occasionally provide evidence of unusual activity at Rainbow Falls. Long exposure images sometimes reveal faint silhouettes in the mist or small orbs of light hovering above the water. Videos capture subtle movements among the spray or along the jungle paths, and audio recordings occasionally pick up whispers, faint footfalls, or distant murmurs that were not audible during the actual visit. While these pieces of evidence are often subtle and open to interpretation, they support the numerous eyewitness accounts of shadowy figures, floating lights, and other unexplained phenomena at the falls. Even local guides and experienced hikers acknowledge the unique energy of Rainbow Falls. The combination of cascading water, dense jungle, drifting mist, and shifting light creates an environment where perception is heightened, and ordinary experiences take on an extraordinary quality. Those who encounter the shadowy figures, mysterious lights, or whispered voices often leave with a sense of reverence mixed with unease, a lingering impression that the falls are not only a natural wonder, but a place where the past and the unseen remain present. Rainbow Falls is more than a beautiful tropical waterfall in Hawaii. Shadowy figures glide through the mist, floating lights drift above the pool, and whispers echo through the jungle, blending the natural with the supernatural. Visitors who walk the trails, linger near the base of the falls, or pause in the mist-laden jungle often sense an invisible presence that inhabits the area. Rainbow Falls is a place where extraordinary natural beauty intersects with unexplained phenomena, leaving an indelible impression on all who venture into its shadowed, misty, and mysterious surrounding. Cascadilla Falls, located in Ithaca, New York, is a series of picturesque waterfalls and steep gorges that carve their way through the rocky landscape, drawing students, hikers, and nature enthusiasts to its trails and scenic overlooks. Part of the charm lies in the network of bridges and pathways that wind through the gorge, offering close-up views of the cascading water and rugged cliffs. Yet beyond its natural beauty, Cascadilla Falls has a reputation for mysterious and unexplained phenomena. Students and hikers have reported seeing ghostly figures crossing the bridges, hearing phantom footsteps along the trails, and observing strange lights appearing in the mist at night, creating an atmosphere that transforms the familiar campus landscape into a place of eerie fascination. The bridges spanning the gorge are often the first location where unusual sightings occur. Witnesses describe seeing figures walking across the wooden and stone spans, moving with deliberate purpose, yet vanishing when approached. Some appear human, dressed in clothing from decades past, while others are more shadowy, almost vaporous forms that seem to drift rather than walk. Students from nearby colleges have recounted encounters in the early morning or late evening when the mist rising from the falls thickens and visibility decreases. The figures often appear at the edges of perception, seen from a distance, glimpsed out of the corner of the eye, or partially obscured by the rushing water below. Those who experience these sightings report an immediate sense of being observed, a quiet tension that persists even after the figure disappears. Phantom footsteps are another common phenomenon along the Cascadilla trails. Hikers and students frequently report hearing the sound of footsteps on the gravel paths or wooden walkways when no one else is present. These footsteps can be slow and deliberate, or quick and fleeting, echoing off the rock walls of the gorge and creating a sense of movement all around. Sometimes the sound of multiple sets of footsteps is heard, as if unseen companions are walking alongside, behind, or ahead of the observer. The footsteps are often accompanied by subtle movements of leaves, branches, or loose stones, further reinforcing the impression that something unseen is moving through the area. Visitors have described pausing mid-trail, trying to locate the source, only to find themselves alone. Mist rising from the falls contributes to the uncanny atmosphere and is frequently the backdrop for reports of ghostly lights. Observers describe faint glows that hover in the fog, moving unpredictably or remaining stationary above the rushing water. These lights vary in color, from warm amber glows to cooler bluish or white orbs, and they often appear to illuminate the mist itself, creating the impression of hovering, semi-transparent shapes. Photographs taken at night sometimes capture these lights as faint streaks or orbs, supporting the first-hand accounts of witnesses. Some speculate that the lights are manifestations of lingering energies, perhaps tied to the history of the gorge or the many students and visitors who have crossed its bridges over the years. The falls themselves serve as a focal point for much of the reported activity. Cascades plunge into narrow pools below, sending up clouds of mist that swirl against the cliffs and trail paths. Witnesses often report seeing shadowy figures within this mist, sometimes standing on rocks at the water's edge or moving along the cliffs as if climbing invisible pathways. The mist amplifies the uncanny effect, allowing shapes and shadows to appear fluid and ethereal. Students have described moments of awe and unease as they glimpse these forms, unsure if what they see is natural or something beyond ordinary perception. The sound of water rushing over the rocks mingles with the echoes of footsteps, voices, or distant whispers, creating a soundscape that can feel haunting even in daylight. Along the trails and near the bridges, subtle interactions with the environment have been reported. Loose stones shift as if nudged, branches fall without apparent cause, and personal items such as water bottles or backpacks sometimes appear in altered positions. Many witnesses describe sensations of being lightly touched by something unseen, or the feeling of cold air brushing across the skin, even on warm days. These experiences often occur in conjunction with sightings of figures or lights, reinforcing the impression that the gorge is a place where the natural and supernatural intersect. Photographs and video recordings occasionally reveal anomalies at Cascadilla Falls. Long exposure shots sometimes capture faint silhouettes on the bridges or along the cliffs, shapes invisible to the naked eye at the time. Video footage may show lights moving independently in the mist, or subtle shadowy movements among the trees lining the gorge. Audio recordings have picked up phantom footsteps, whispers, or distant murmurs that were not audible during the actual visit. While subtle and often difficult to interpret, these recordings reinforce the numerous first-hand accounts of ghostly sightings, phantom sounds, and mysterious lights throughout the gorge. Even local students and experienced hikers acknowledge the peculiar energy surrounding Cascadilla Falls. The combination of rushing water, steep cliffs, mist, and forested trails creates an environment where perception is heightened, and ordinary experiences take on an extraordinary quality. Those who encounter ghostly figures, phantom footsteps, or unexplained lights often leave with a sense of awe, mixed with unease, a lingering impression that the gorge holds memories, presences, and energies beyond the understanding of the living. Cascadilla Falls is more than a scenic waterfall in New York. Ghostly figures cross bridges, phantom footsteps echo along the trails, and mysterious lights hover in the mist, blending the natural beauty of the gorge with the supernatural. Students, hikers, and visitors who explore the trails, pause near the cascades, or linger on the bridges often sense an invisible presence that inhabits the cliffs, the water, and the mist alike. Cascadilla Falls is a place where the beauty of nature intersects with the unexplained, leaving a lasting impression on all who venture into its shadowed, mist-filled, and mysterious landscape. Blackwater Falls, located in the rugged terrain of West Virginia, is a striking natural landmark where the Blackwater River plunges dramatically over a cliff into a deep canyon below. The falls are renowned for the dark amber hue of the water, caused by tannins from fallen hemlock and red spruce needles, creating a scene of both beauty and mystery. Visitors are drawn to the site for hiking, photography, and the serene majesty of the cascading water. Yet beneath the natural allure lies a history steeped in the unexplained. Locals and hikers have reported shadowy apparitions, sudden cold spots near the water, and phantom cries echoing through the canyon, giving Blackwater Falls an eerie and haunting reputation. The shadowy apparitions are among the most frequently reported phenomena at Blackwater Falls. Hikers and tourists describe seeing dark figures moving along the cliffs, lingering near the edge of the falls, or crossing the forested trails that wind through the gorge. These figures vary in clarity. Some appear as indistinct silhouettes, while others take on a more human-like form, often dressed in outdated clothing reminiscent of settlers or early visitors to the area. Witnesses frequently note that the figures disappear when approached directly, or seem to dissolve into the mist rising from the falls. Many have reported an unsettling sense of being watched as these apparitions pass by, creating a tension that persists long after the figure vanishes. The apparitions are often seen during early morning fog or in the late evening, when shadows lengthen and the forest becomes quieter, amplifying the sense of the supernatural. Cold spots near the water add to the sense of unease that pervades Blackwater Falls. Visitors often describe sudden, localized drops in temperature along the viewing platforms, trails, or even while standing near the river's edge. These cold spots can occur even on warm summer days, creating a chilling contrast to the surrounding air. Many hikers report that these sudden chills are accompanied by other sensations, such as goosebumps, shivers, or a heavy feeling in the chest, as if unseen eyes are upon them. The combination of the rushing water, the deep canyon, and these sudden drops in temperature contributes to a heightened awareness, making every rustle of leaves or snap of a branch seem amplified and potentially ominous. Phantom cries are another haunting feature of Blackwater Falls. Visitors frequently report hearing cries, screams, or wails echoing through the canyon, often when the area is otherwise silent. The sound seems to emanate from the gorge itself, traveling along the walls of the canyon and carrying over the water. Some describe the cries as urgent and fearful, while others note a sorrowful, mournful tone. Occasionally, the sounds resemble faint voices calling out names, leaving those who hear them with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Many believe these phantom cries are connected to the area's history, reflecting the spirits of those who may have suffered or perished near the falls, their energy lingering in the canyon and mist. The falls themselves, with their powerful rush of water and rising mist, are often the backdrop for these experiences. The combination of flowing water, fog, and rocky cliffs creates an environment where shapes and shadows can appear and vanish almost effortlessly. Hikers have reported seeing figures seemingly emerge from the mist or stand briefly on rocks along the edge of the river before fading away. The mist enhances the mysterious atmosphere, blurring the line between natural movement and the supernatural. Witnesses frequently describe a mixture of awe and unease, captivated by the beauty of the falls while simultaneously feeling the presence of something beyond ordinary perception. Along the trails and viewing areas, subtle, unexplained occurrences are common. Rocks may shift or fall without explanation. Branches break or sway despite the absence of wind, and personal items sometimes appear in different locations than they were left. Some hikers describe feeling light touches on their shoulders or the back of their necks, sudden chills that move along the body, or the sensation of an unseen presence passing by. These phenomena often coincide with sightings of shadowy figures, strange lights in the mist, or phantom sounds, suggesting an interconnectedness of the unexplained occurrences at the falls. Photographs and recordings occasionally capture anomalies at Blackwater Falls. Long exposure photos sometimes reveal faint silhouettes among the trees or along the cliffs, shapes that were invisible to the naked eye. Videos occasionally show mysterious movements in the mist, and audio recordings have captured whispers, footsteps, or distant cries that were not present during the actual visit. While subtle, these forms of evidence support the numerous first-hand accounts of paranormal activity reported by hikers, photographers, and locals over the years. Even regular visitors and experienced hikers acknowledge the unique atmosphere surrounding Blackwater Falls. The combination of rushing water, deep canyons, dense forest, mist, and shadowy cliffs creates a setting where perception is heightened, and ordinary sounds and movements take on a more mysterious quality. Those who encounter shadowy figures, sudden cold spots, or phantom cries often leave with a profound sense of awe mixed with unease and impression that the falls are not just a scenic natural landmark, but a place where unseen presences linger, tied to the history and energy of the canyon. Blackwater Falls is more than a dramatic waterfall in West Virginia. Shadowy figures roam the cliffs and trails. Cold spots chill the air near the rushing water, and phantom cries echo across the canyon, blending the natural beauty of the area with the mysterious and unexplained. Visitors who explore the trails, pause at the viewing platforms, or linger near the mist-laden falls often sense a presence that is both intangible and unmistakable. Blackwater Falls is a location where breathtaking scenery intersects with supernatural mystery, leaving an enduring impression on all who venture into its shadowed, mist-filled depths. Bridal Veil Falls, nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, is a stunning waterfall that plunges dramatically over a series of rocky cliffs into a shallow pool below. The falls are surrounded by dense forest, moss-covered rocks, and winding trails that allow visitors to explore the area closely, making it one of the most popular natural attractions in the region. Yet, alongside its breathtaking beauty, Bridal Veil Falls has long been associated with mysterious and unexplained phenomena. Visitors and hikers have reported sightings of ghostly figures among the rock's mysterious lights hovering in the mist and faint, echoing whispers that speak of tragedy, lending the falls an eerie reputation that contrasts sharply with its serene scenic charm. The ghostly figures are perhaps the most frequently reported encounters at Bridal Veil Falls. Hikers and tourists describe seeing shadowy forms moving across the rocky ledges, perched briefly on outcroppings, or wandering along the narrow trails near the water's edge. Some figures appear humanoid, dressed in clothing from past decades, while others are more abstract, resembling dark silhouettes that shift and blend with the natural surroundings. Witnesses often note that these apparitions vanish the moment they are looked at directly, giving the impression that the falls themselves conceal or protect these mysterious presences. The figures are most commonly observed in the early morning fog or as dusk descends, when the light is dim and the mist rises thickly from the cascading water, creating a natural veil that hides and reveals in equal measure. Mysterious lights are another frequent phenomenon at Bridal Veil Falls. Visitors have reported small, glowing orbs appearing in the mist, floating above the water, or drifting among the rocks and trees surrounding the falls. These lights vary in hue, sometimes appearing warm and golden, other times cool and bluish, often seeming to move independently of any natural source. Photographers and hikers alike have captured these lights in long exposure photographs, where they appear as faint, ethereal streaks or hovering spheres. Locals speculate that these lights may represent lingering spirits or energies tied to the falls, appearing to mark locations of past events or to draw attention to areas where tragedy has left a lingering impression. Echoing whispers accompany many of the reported sightings at Bridal Veil Falls. Visitors frequently hear faint murmurs, voices calling names, or fragments of sentences carried on the wind through the canyon. These whispers are often described as sorrowful or urgent, and they seem to emerge from the mist itself, blending with the sound of rushing water to create an otherworldly soundscape. Hikers have noted that the whispers appeared to react to their presence, growing slightly louder or clearer as they move closer to certain areas along the trail or the pool at the base of the falls. The voices are often accompanied by the sensation of being watched, heightening the feeling that the waterfall is not merely a natural landmark but a place imbued with unseen presences. The waterfall itself plays a central role in the atmosphere of the falls. The constant rush of water produces a rhythmic roar that echoes off the surrounding cliffs, while the mist rises in thick clouds, creating pockets where visibility is limited and shadows move unpredictably. Hikers have reported seeing figures emerge briefly from the spray or standing along the cliff edges, only to vanish moments later. The interplay of light, water, and mist amplifies these experiences, making it difficult to distinguish between natural phenomena and something otherworldly. Visitors often describe a mixture of awe and unease, captivated by the waterfall as beauty, while sensing a presence that cannot be explained by ordinary perception. Subtle, unexplained interactions with the environment are also commonly reported. Rocks may shift without cause, branches sway or snap even when the wind is calm, and personal items such as backpacks, water bottles, or cameras sometimes appear in different positions than when they were left. Some hikers have even described the sensation of being lightly touched by an invisible presence, a sudden chill, or a weight on their shoulders as they navigate the trails. These experiences are often coupled with sightings of ghostly figures or floating lights, reinforcing the idea that the falls are a location where natural beauty and supernatural energy coexist. Photographs and recordings occasionally capture evidence of these phenomena. Long exposure photos often reveal faint silhouettes among the rocks or mist, and video footage may show moving lights or shadows that were not visible during the visit. Audio recordings sometimes pick up soft whispers, distant footsteps, or faint cries that were imperceptible at the time. While these pieces of evidence are subtle and open to interpretation, They support the consistency of eyewitness accounts, which describe ghostly figures, mysterious lights, and haunting whispers at the falls. Local guides and frequent visitors often acknowledge the unique energy of Bridal Veil Falls. The combination of cascading water, mist, dense forest, and rocky cliffs creates an environment that heightens perception and amplifies subtle, natural, or supernatural occurrences. Those who encounter ghostly figures, floating lights, or whispering voices leave with a lasting sense of awe, intertwined with unease, a feeling that the falls are more than a scenic destination. Many describe the experience as stepping into a place where history, tragedy, and lingering energy remain present, shaping the atmosphere in subtle but unmistakable ways. Bridal Veil Falls is more than a picturesque waterfall in North Carolina. Ghostly figures move among the rocks, mysterious lights drift in the mist, and echoes of sorrowful whispers reverberate through the canyon. Visitors who walk the trails, linger near the plunge pool, or explore the surrounding forest often sense the presence of unseen spirits, leaving them with an unforgettable impression. Bridal Veil Falls is a place where natural beauty intersects with the unexplained, a location where the mystical and the eerie merge, creating an experience that is as haunting as it is breathtaking. Mingo Falls, located near the town of Cherokee in the mountains of North Carolina, is one of the tallest waterfalls in the region, plunging over 120 feet into a pool surrounded by dense forest and rugged cliffs. The falls draw hikers, nature enthusiasts, and photographers who seek to experience the breathtaking beauty of cascading water and the tranquility of the surrounding wilderness. Yet beyond its natural allure, Mingo Falls has gained a reputation for unexplained phenomena. Hikers have reported apparitions at the base of the falls, phantom footsteps echoing along the cliffside, and strange glowing orbs drifting through the evening fog, creating an eerie atmosphere that seems to linger long after the sun has set. Apparitions at the base of Mingo Falls are among the most commonly reported experiences. Visitors describe seeing shadowy figures emerging from the mist created by the crashing water, standing momentarily on the rocks, or moving along the forested edge of the pool. These figures often appear humanoid, sometimes dressed in clothing reminiscent of decades past, yet they seem almost translucent, fading into the spray when approached. Witnesses frequently report that these apparitions appear and vanish without warning, giving the impression of spirits tethered to the waterfall or lingering from a distant past. Some hikers have recounted moments of unease as they pause to observe the pool, feeling as though unseen eyes are watching from within the mist, heightening the sense of mystery that permeates the area. Phantom footsteps along the cliffside are another unsettling phenomenon reported by those who explore Mingo Falls. Hikers often hear the sound of footsteps echoing across the rocky paths and narrow ledges, seemingly following them or moving ahead along trails where no one is present. The footsteps vary in tone and intensity. Some are heavy and deliberate, while others are light and fleeting. Visitors have described the sensation of hearing these sounds both above and below them, creating the impression that multiple presences are navigating the cliffs and forests simultaneously. Many hikers report feeling a physical response to these sounds: goosebumps, a sudden chill, or a heightened sense of awareness, as if the unseen presence is intentionally drawing attention. Evening fog adds another layer of intrigue to Mingo Falls. As the sun sets and mist rises from the waterfall, hikers have reported seeing glowing orbs hovering above the pool, drifting along the cliff faces, or moving through the trees. These lights range in color, from soft amber to bluish white, sometimes appearing stationary and other times floating as if guided by an invisible current. Photographs taken during twilight or long exposure shots occasionally capture these orbs, appearing as faint streaks or glowing spheres that seem impossible to attribute to natural sources. Local lore suggests that these lights may be manifestations of spirits tied to the waterfall, appearing to watch over the area or to guide visitors along the trails after dark. The waterfall itself plays a crucial role in the haunting atmosphere. The continuous rush of water produces a constant roar that resonates through the gorge, blending with the sounds of wind through the trees and the occasional rustle of wildlife. The mist rising from the falls creates pockets of reduced visibility, where shadows and shapes appear to shift and move. Visitors often describe fleeting glimpses of figures among the rocks or along the cliffside, disappearing into the mist before they can be fully observed. The interplay of sound, water, and fog produces an environment where perception is heightened, and the ordinary movements of nature are imbued with a sense of the uncanny. Subtle, unexplained occurrences are often reported along the trails leading to and from the falls. Rocks may shift without reason, branches sway or snap even when the wind is calm, and personal belongings sometimes appear in different locations than where they were left. Some hikers have described the sensation of being lightly touched by an unseen presence, or the feeling of a sudden cold draft brushing against their skin, even during warm weather. These occurrences frequently coincide with sightings of apparitions, phantom footsteps, or glowing orbs, reinforcing the perception that Mingo Falls is a place where natural beauty and supernatural energy coexist. Photographs and video recordings occasionally capture anomalies that corroborate visitor accounts. Long exposure photographs often reveal faint silhouettes or misty forms near the pool or along cliff edges. Video footage sometimes shows small lights moving through the fog or along the trees, while audio recordings have captured faint footsteps or whispers that were not audible during the visit. While subtle and often open to interpretation, these recordings support the numerous eyewitness reports of ghostly figures, strange lights, and phantom sounds at the falls. Local guides and frequent hikers acknowledge the unique energy of Mingo Falls. The combination of cascading water, towering cliffs, dense forests, and thick evening mist creates an environment where ordinary experiences are amplified and the senses are heightened. Those who encounter apparitions, hear phantom footsteps, or witness glowing orbs often leave with a mixture of awe and unease, feeling that the falls are more than a scenic destination. Many describe the experience as stepping into a space where the natural and supernatural coexist, where lingering energy from the past interacts with the present in subtle but unmistakable ways. Mingo Falls is more than a majestic waterfall in North Carolina. Shadowy apparitions emerge at the base, phantom footsteps echo along the cliffside, and glowing orbs drift through the evening mist. Visitors who hike the trails, linger near the pool, or explore the cliffs often sense presences that remain unseen yet undeniably felt. The falls combine natural splendor with a palpable sense of mystery, leaving a lasting impression on all who venture into its misty, shadowed, and haunting environment. Twin Falls, located in the lush, forested regions of Washington state, is a breathtaking natural landmark where water cascades gracefully over steep cliffs into a narrow canyon below. The falls draw hikers, photographers, and nature enthusiasts eager to experience the serene beauty of the Pacific Northwest wilderness. Yet, beyond its picturesque appearance, Twin Falls has long been associated with mysterious occurrences. Locals and visitors report shadowy figures moving among the dense forest, strange lights appearing above the falls, and phantom screams echoing through the canyon, creating an atmosphere that is both captivating and unsettling. The shadowy figures are among the most frequently reported phenomena at Twin Falls. Hikers often describe dark silhouettes moving between the trees, lingering along the cliff edges, or crossing trails in ways that defy explanation. These figures vary in clarity. Some appear almost human, dressed in attire reminiscent of long-past decades, while others are indistinct, shifting forms that seem to blend seamlessly with the surrounding forest. Witnesses note that the figures often vanish when approached or looked at directly, giving the impression of presences tethered to the falls yet remaining elusive. Early mornings, when the forest is cloaked in fog, and late evenings, as the sun fades, are the most common times for these sightings. The interplay of shadows and mist enhancing the feeling of otherworldliness. Strange lights above the falls are another phenomenon that captivates visitors. Numerous reports describe small orbs or glowing shapes hovering over the cascading water, moving unpredictably or lingering in place for brief periods. The lights vary in color, sometimes appearing amber, gold, or bluish-white, and seem to exist independently of natural sources such as lanterns or campfires. Photographers occasionally capture these lights in long exposure shots, where they manifest as glowing streaks or spheres drifting in the air above the water. Some locals speculate that these lights represent lingering energies or spirits connected to the falls, appearing in the evening mist to mark significant spots or events from the past. Phantom screams echoing through the canyon are another haunting feature of Twin Falls. Visitors often recount hearing sudden, piercing cries or wails that seem to carry from the depths of the gorge. These sounds are sometimes faint and distant, other times startlingly close, as if emanating from unseen figures perched along the cliffs or hidden within the trees. Many hikers describe a chill that accompanies these sounds, a sensation that intensifies the feeling of being observed or followed. Occasionally, the screams resemble fragmented voices or urgent calls, adding to the sense of tragedy or unresolved events tied to the location. The echoes of these phantom cries mix with the natural roar of the waterfall, creating an auditory landscape that can feel both awe-inspiring and unnerving. The falls themselves play a central role in the mysterious atmosphere. The rushing water generates a constant roar that reverberates through the canyon, blending with the sounds of the wind, rustling leaves, and distant wildlife. Mist rises from the cascading water, creating pockets of fog that obscure vision and allow shadows to appear and vanish with ease. Hikers often report fleeting glimpses of figures standing on cliff edges or along the forested trail, only for them to disappear into the mist moments later. This interplay of light, shadow, and motion amplifies the perception of supernatural activity, making it difficult for visitors to distinguish between natural occurrences and something more unexplained. Unexplained interactions with the environment add to the sense of the uncanny. Rocks may shift without reason, branches sway or break despite the absence of wind, and personal items sometimes appear in locations other than where they were left. Some hikers describe the sensation of a brush against their shoulders, sudden cold drafts, or the feeling of being watched by unseen presences. These experiences often coincide with sightings of shadowy figures or glowing lights, suggesting a connection between the various types of phenomena reported at Twin Falls. Photographs and recordings occasionally provide subtle evidence of these occurrences. Long exposure photos have captured faint silhouettes among the trees or cliffs, while video recordings sometimes reveal lights moving independently in the mist. Audio recordings may include faint footsteps or distant cries that were not audible during the actual visit. Though open to interpretation, these recordings support the consistency of eyewitness accounts, highlighting the combination of visual, auditory, and environmental phenomena that define the haunted reputation of Twin Falls. Locals and frequent hikers often acknowledge the unique energy of the falls. The combination of cascading water, steep cliffs, dense forest, and rising mist creates an environment where perception is heightened and ordinary experiences take on an uncanny quality. Those who encounter shadowy figures, glowing orbs, or phantom screams leave with a lasting sense of awe and unease, feeling that Twin Falls is more than a scenic destination. Many describe the experience as stepping into a place where history, lingering energy, and natural beauty intersect, leaving traces of the past that are felt if not fully understood. Twin Falls is more than a scenic waterfall in Washington. Shadowy figures roam the forest, strange lights hover above the cascading water, and phantom screams echo through the canyon. Visitors who hike the trails, linger near cliff edges, or explore the mist-filled surroundings often sense a presence that is intangible yet undeniable. Twin Falls is a location where the beauty of nature and the mystery of the unexplained merge, creating an experience that is as haunting as it is breathtaking. Bridal Veil Falls in Oregon, located amidst dense forests and rugged cliffs, is a captivating natural landmark known for its cascading water and picturesque scenery. The falls drop dramatically into a rocky pool below, with trails and observation points that allow visitors to experience the beauty of the area up close. However, beyond the visual allure of the falls lies a history steeped in mystery. Over the years, hikers and visitors have reported encounters with ghostly figures in the mist, strange lights along the trails, and unexplained footsteps that seem to follow them, creating an atmosphere that is both enchanting and unnerving. The ghostly figures at Bridal Veil Falls are among the most reported phenomena. Visitors frequently describe seeing shadowy forms emerging from the mist that rises from the waterfall, lingering momentarily along the cliff edges, or crossing the narrow forest trails. These figures often appear humanoid, sometimes resembling hikers from long ago, dressed in clothing from decades past. Witnesses often note that the apparitions vanish when approached directly or observed too closely, as if the spirits are aware of being watched but remain tied to the falls. Many hikers report a sense of being observed, an unsettling feeling that intensifies when these figures appear in peripheral vision or emerge unexpectedly from the mist. Alongside the ghostly figures, strange lights are commonly reported by visitors to Bridal Veil Falls. Hikers recount seeing small, glowing orbs drifting along the trails, hovering above the water, or moving through the forest surrounding the falls. These lights vary in color, ranging from soft white to pale amber, and sometimes seem to move with intention, following the paths of those who walk the trails or floating in places where no natural source of light exists. Photographs taken during dusk or long exposure shots sometimes reveal these mysterious lights as faint, ethereal streaks or spheres, further fueling the sense that something beyond the natural world inhabits the area. Locals often speculate that the lights may be manifestations of spirits tied to the falls, appearing to guide or warn visitors as they navigate the misty terrain. Unexplained footsteps are another eerie aspect of the falls haunting. Visitors report hearing the sound of footsteps echoing on rocks or the forest floor when no one else is present. These sounds are often described as deliberate and purposeful, sometimes following hikers along the trail or echoing from above the cliffside, as if someone unseen is shadowing them. The footsteps can appear suddenly, vanish, and reappear moments later, heightening the tension and sense of mystery. Many hikers describe a physical response to the phantom footsteps, such as a sudden chill, goosebumps, or a fleeting feeling of being touched by an unseen presence. These unexplained sounds, paired with the figures and lights, create a layered and immersive experience of the paranormal at Bridal Veil Falls. The waterfall itself contributes significantly to the eerie atmosphere. The constant roar of water as it plunges over the cliffs echoes throughout the canyon, mixing with the sounds of wind in the trees and the occasional rustle of wildlife. Mist rises continuously from the falls, creating pockets of fog where visibility is limited and shadows move unpredictably. Hikers have often recounted glimpses of figures standing along cliff edges or emerging from the mist only to vanish moments later. The interplay of light, water, and fog amplifies the impression of supernatural activity, making it difficult to determine whether what is seen is natural or otherworldly. Other subtle phenomena further enhance the mysterious reputation of the falls. Rocks and small debris may shift without explanation, branches sway or snap in calm conditions, and personal items, such as water bottles or backpacks, sometimes appear in places different from where they were left. Hikers occasionally experience sudden cold drafts or sensations of light touches on their shoulders, further contributing to the sense of being in the presence of unseen entities. These experiences often occur in conjunction with sightings of figures or lights, suggesting that the falls are a location where natural beauty and lingering energies intersect. Photographs and audio recordings occasionally capture anomalies that align with eyewitness accounts. Videos may capture lights moving independently in the forest or over the water. Audio recordings have picked up footsteps or faint whispers that were not audible to the hikers at the time. While these pieces of evidence are subtle, they support the consistency of reports from visitors who have encountered ghostly figures, strange lights, and phantom sounds at Bridal Veil Falls. Local guides and frequent hikers often acknowledge the fall's unique energy. The combination of cascading water, mist-filled cliffs, and dense forests creates an environment where perceptions are heightened and ordinary experiences can become extraordinary. Those who witness apparitions, encounter glowing orbs, or hear phantom footsteps leave with a lasting sense of awe, mixed with unease. Many describe the area as a place where history, lingering spirits, and natural beauty converge, leaving subtle impressions that remain long after a visit. Bridal Veil Falls in Oregon is more than a scenic waterfall. Ghostly figures emerge from the mist, strange lights drift along trails and cliffs, and unexplained footsteps echo through the forest. Hikers and visitors who explore the trails or linger near the plunging water often feel the presence of entities that remain unseen yet undeniably real. The falls combine natural splendor with a palpable sense of the mysterious, creating an experience that is as haunting as it is breathtaking. Waterfalls are symbols of life, flow, and renewal, but these 25 haunted waterfalls remind us that some spirits never rest. From shadowy figures hidden in the mist to phantom footsteps echoing along the rocks, the forests of America keep secrets that whisper through the waters. Thank you for joining us on this journey into America's haunted waterfalls. Subscribe, like, and click the bell to continue exploring the places where beauty, mystery, and the supernatural collide, and where the echoes of the past are never far away.